Start it.
We start. Well,
Start it.
we're not doing the bit then. I just want to be.
Oliver,
Yeah.
I sold the bit.
Fuck. How
We needed
much?
money.
How much did you sell it for?
At this time, I'm not allowed to disclose that information.
God damn.
It
All
is
right.
highly classified.
Just don't tell the IRS.
But
That's all I'm saying. Just
don't worry. I got you a sweet 35%. It'll come in the mail.
wait. Hold on. I don't. That doesn't.
Yeah.
The math on that is
What's wrong?
well, I'm
I
not.
mean, you weren't there to discuss it, so I mean, liberties
had to
were
make
taken.
he had to make an executive decision.
Oh, it's Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
He's at a TV.
Going
Hey, man.
on the TV,
Doing
man.
good?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm not. I'm short fucking 20% money or
Yeah,
something. I don't.
just don't worry about it.
All
We'll
right.
talk about
I
it. Talk
mean,
about it later.
yeah.
After rehearsal, we'll talk about
Oh,
it.
sure. Okay.
Okay.
God
All
damn
right.
it. All right. Mike, what are we talking about today?
Difficulty.
Oof.
As in, it is difficult to talk about this subject.
It is so hard.
It's a very polarizing subject in the gaming industry and for consumers. Uh, what exactly is difficulty? We're going to be talking about. I'm assuming this is going to be a bit of an open discussion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about just how difficult it is to make a game accessible to everybody,
Right.
and just the different types of difficulty in games, what
Mm.
pertains to the individual, and we even have a survey
Oof.
filled out. We got some entries for that, so we're going to be
My
looking
lord.
at the entries on the survey.
I want you guys to know I'm wearing a tie right now because we're getting so professional. It's out of
That's right.
hand. I can't believe
That's right.
this podcast is
We're
stepping up.
just that good.
We're selling our bits. I'm not making any
That's
money,
right.
and now we're
We're gonna have to
dressing.
make more bits. Maybe that'll be our shtick. We got to make more bits, and then we sell them. You know.
Wait. I thought it was a podcast business, not the bit business.
Well, you never know these days.
Yeah.
Times are tough. You gotta adapt, you know?
Fair enough. Oh god. All right.
All right.
Let's do it. So the first question: what the hell is difficulty? What does that even mean? Like, because
Well,
in a lot of ways, to me, it's always like limiters on fun. No, I'm kidding. It's like
okay.
it's like amount of like, I guess like it's measuring challenge, I guess,
Hmm.
right?
That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
But I don't know, what do you think, Matt? Where you at?
It's probably what I would call it too. Yeah,
Mm.
just kind of your challenge level, I guess.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, fucking solved. All right. Shut it down, guys. We did
All
it.
right.
All right. Cash that
Good
in.
job,
We're
everyone.
done.
That's yeah, we're gonna sell this podcast.
Um.
Don't worry, I'll try to fight for 40% instead of 40 over.
Yeah. Well, boy. can, can I get some collective bargaining over here? Uh.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some types of difficulty that I think are really good, and some that suck, and so I just kind of want to talk about that mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly the ones that are good because I like to talk about good
Yeah.
things. Um, and my favorite kind of like type of difficulty is a type where you have to master mechanics to really like not just like overcome challenge, but to get like the full like breadth of the
Mm.
experience. Um,
Right.
so of course, of fucking course, um, I'm talking about Monster Hunter because it's
Monster Hunter is a good example of that, yeah.
it's what I do. I think it's like it's the best like there's not much more to learn outside of what you're given right up front, right? So whatever
Mhm.
weapon you've got, they're like, "Yo, this is it," and everything's available to you right from the beginning. It's like, okay, like
Mhm.
you get some pretty simple monsters who will kind of show you the ropes without telling you they're showing you the ropes, right? You get like a Velociprey types who are kind of like hopping around to kind of give you a sense of like distance and stuff, who will just like, do a quick strike to knock you down and then, jump back and give you a chance to like breathe and stuff. And then before you know it, you're dodging projectiles from, a Raytheon or Rathalos. You're whatever. You know what I'm saying. Well, I mean, nowadays you're just countering. But anyways, you're getting your timing, you're
Really
getting your
weirdly.
yeah, you're getting your timing, you're getting your space, and you're getting all that set. And then the challenge becomes less about like um, unlocking things or making your experience easier, but learning how to adapt the set of movements and the set of actions to the to the to the environment or to the challenge itself, to the monster, to the goal, right? How good can you be at these simple things? Simple, I say simple, like because
Mm.
it's not it's not terribly complex, um, and can you conquer the challenges put in front of you, whether they be poison or blah blah blah, or
Right,
a
right.
5 monster or whatever, or
Yeah,
it could.
Monster Hunter is a good way of varying the difficulty, and the way you approach the game is varied in a lot of ways based on which weapon you want to play.
Mm.
And the weapons are all accessible, as you said. So, like, each weapon creates its own sort of challenge of how you interact with the monsters. So, you just have a lot of ways to learn the game, or if you want, you just stick with one and try to master it, right? And that's basically the difficulty of it, is mastering the weapon and mastering the monster, the boss fight, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge of Monster Hunter, and all the different ways you can play that game create a very open and much more approachable experience for people who like that sort of sandbox approach to difficulty.
Yeah, that I think that's important. It's like you're free to approach the problem any way you want, but you're still limited in the amount of actions you have, right? So like the creativity is kind of on you. Um, and but at the same time, like there are some there's just some monsters that'll just cheese you, right? They'll just like
Yeah, Lunastra,
Luna. Yeah.
horrible monster in Monster Hunter World. Holy shit, what a terrible fight! Capcom fucked up with that one.
See
Jesus
what
Christ, what were
Alatrion?
they? What were they thinking? Oh my god, jeez.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway, Matt, I know you play a lot of Monster Hunter, right? So how do you
Yeah.
feel about the
So
difficulty?
so I actually like the difficulty with it. I prefer games if they have just like, a preset difficulty, no difficulty options, and it's more so it gets harder as you go. Like you said with Monster Hunter, you have to adapt to new mechanics or, just monsters getting faster, whatever. Um, so for me, that feels like a good way to do difficulty because you're learning as you go.
Right. And
It's not like a
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like there's also like this impulse that I personally like fight off whenever I start a new Monster Hunter game, where I'm just like, I usually play Sword and Shield, so it's a very melee based, in your face type weapon, very versatile. But at the same time, like as soon as a monster starts flying away, I'm like, where the hell's my bow? Like, let's just come on, right? But it's like I
Yeah.
gotta. Then to me, it's like I gotta tell myself again, like that's the challenge, buddy boy. Figure it out. Like, yeah, he's gonna fly. How are you gonna take care of this, right? You can't switch weapons mid hunt. So, well, you can
Yeah,
now,
that's another
but
good way to look at it.
yeah.
It
Um,
just kind of adds on to the challenge.
yeah. But it never feels like, and I think this is kind of important to the idea of difficulty as far as like the player perceives it, is that it really just can't feel unfair, because once you
Hmm.
feel like you're basically at the mercy of a computer, right? And so
mm,
like how often, I mean, when we were kids, how often was it like, oh, the game's cheating, or like it's just I can't do that or whatever, right? Like my
yeah,
controller's not working, right? How many times do you hear that shit? Uh, but
Yeah.
like if it once you start to feel like the parameters are like, once you feel like a thumb on the scale, you're just like, hey man, what is that? Like, um, and I never really feel that too much with Monster Hunter. There's just a few of them where I'm just like, bro, get out of here. What am I supposed to do? But it never feels like, it feels like a puzzle I have to solve, right? Which
Hmm.
the puzzle is, um, guard up, bring a lance, and hold R, and then that's it. Puzzle
yeah,
solved. Yeah, get behind me, guys. That's it.
That's how you win Monster Hunter.
Hmm.
yeah.
poke and shield.
Yeah, that's a good way to segue into a part of it. I think is a good way to look at difficulty in games is like how the individual is, how they like a lot. Like Monster Hunter is a good example with like you can approach it any way you want, and especially if you're pulled into the experience, right? That's also like I feel like a big key factor. Like for example, like Oliver, you like Monster, but you don't like Souls games.
No, no, I don't.
The Souls games just don't pull you into an experience enough to be able to learn to overcome the difficulties of the game, whereas Monster Hunter does, right?
Yeah,
There's just so many different ways to approach Monster Hunter in the ways that you like, opposed to
yeah,
Souls, where it's not so much your cup of tea.
yeah.
Um,
Even just having other things to focus on, right? Like especially in like World, where you know, I can get tired of hunting down, a Rathalos, especially a Rathalos, because he's gonna run, and crap, there go my flash bombs, right?
fly away.
Yeah, thanks. I'll see you later. I gotta go, go up the eternal escalator to the top of the tree. You're just gonna fly back down.
That's right.
Um, but worst map in Monster Hunter. Anyways, uh,
Terrible.
it's fucking
Awful.
the worst.
It's so pretty,
It's
but it's
beautiful.
terrible.
God, I hate it. But if I don't want to do that, I can still advance, right? I can still make something better. I could focus on improving my weapon. I can focus on improving my armor. I can even focus on improving the food that my cats are cooking for me, right? Like there's so many different avenues, and there's a lot of like not like hand holding, but there's a lot of information and world building that happens outside of the hunts that is like um it keeps me wrapped into like not the it's hard to say story with Monster Hunter, but like the narrative, the environment, the world, right?
The world, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty important with the Souls games. I feel, or Souls types, I feel like it's very much like, yo, go win. It's like, hey, but I can't. It's like, yeah, well, figure it out. I'm like,
Yeah,
ah, man.
there's a lot of pitfalls fall there where it's like it is all about linear, like a multi-directional progression, but it's not like, you select a hunt, you drop in, you fight it, you win or you lose, and then you can just go and do something else. Whereas Souls typically is you're picking a path to go down, and if you run into a wall, you're gonna be up against that wall until you beat it.
Right.
Which are like, you can still run into something like that in Monster Hunter, because like, for example, uh, Fatalis is like the final
Oh,
boss fight of the game,
oh god.
and that is the final fight.
That
Like that is it. Like
it
this is the
really is.
penultimate fight. So you have to beat that fight in order to truly beat the game. So it's similar in that way, and I do see like Monster Hunter and Souls do get compared a lot because they are both stamina-based action RPGs.
Mm,
Um, Souls, you can level up, change your stats, do all sorts of things like that. Monster Hunter, you're building armor based on the hunts you do. You're improving your stats in the ways you want to improve them in a similar fashion. So it's easy to see that comparison, but at the same time, they're very different, obviously, right? So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
uh,
let's maybe we should this is all scripted, but maybe we should just like jump
yeah.
into the Souls thing because I think that's kind of like the dead elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, no, oh my God.
Because they're dead, right?
It's
Everyone's dead. I don't
it's a
know.
soul.
These fucking
See,
games,
because it's
Yeah.
a
it's
soul
weird.
elephant.
They're not. I bet you there's got to be a dead elephant in Souls, right? No, I'm I'm
Uh,
asking here.
there's a hippo.
There's a hippo.
There's a hippo, yeah.
Close enough. What's the difference
Yeah,
between an elephant and a hippo? Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing,
They're
not at all.
nothing at all. It's a
One's
synonym,
more dangerous than the other one.
right? You pick. um, yeah. So, Matt, do you have how do you feel about Souls games or Souls likes?
So I've beaten Dark Souls 2 and 3. And actually, with 3, I played that through, I guess you could say 3 times. I played with a couple of friends. And to do like the bosses, you gotta go into someone else's world and beat it. So basically, we would go into each other's world and beat every boss. So
Mhm.
I enjoy them, but yeah, I could definitely see what you guys are saying. How with Monster Hunter, it's not quite as linear in a sense. I definitely agree with that. With Dark Souls, like, yeah, you basically have to go a specific way and progress through that to get through it and, continue the story, whatever. So, it does kind of suck when you come up against a boss that you can't beat and it basically soft locks you until you can beat it. And there's really nothing you can do besides like bashing your head against it over and over until you beat it.
Mhm. And
Um,
you get run into the pitfalls of like, well, my build just isn't really good for this boss. Like my weapon does damage that this boss is resistant to, or it just doesn't do enough damage, and this boss just kicks my ass, or in different ways I can't. I'm wearing
right,
heavy armor, I can't roll that fast, so it's like, it's catching me. All these different avenues you can go down in Souls where it can be frustrating if you're not prepared for it. Uh, but it does make for a similar experience where overcoming that challenge does feel good, like you finally beat it. Or if it has beaten you into dust, and then by the time you beat it, you just don't care anymore. That's also a problem. So like just different pitfalls of difficulty in these types of games, and it's
right,
not even mentioning how people like the people perceive it as like social media. They get good. We're gonna
Ugh.
talk about that as well.
Yeah, we
Just
gotta.
like this whole thing about it, which could just be a total put off for a lot of people. And you're just like, well, if that's how people perceive it, and because if it took me 10 times to beat the first boss of the game, and people are just gonna be shitting on me for it, then this shit's not worth it, man. Like
right. And kind of going back to what you guys were saying before about, games feeling fair and kind of that whole like, oh, well, the game's cheating. The Souls games do have some elements that I feel like kind of cause that kind of attitude. Um, I can't think of like any specific thing from one of the games, but I have had instances where, I'll get ganged up on by multiple enemies and they'll stun lock you to where you literally can't get out of it. And then you die and it just feels unfair, like there was nothing I could do and it's not my fault.
Yeah.
mhm. Then it's about backtracking, going back there, and doing that whole thing again.
So
Right.
from what I feel, okay, so I'll give up my little my little experience with Souls games. Mike shows up in my house, right? Good old Mike. He shows. What did you?
Yeah,
You brought like 3 games, I think. I can't remember, but
maybe
you
I can't remember.
you brought a Bounty Hunter.
It was a digital only Xbox. Is that the one you're
I
talking about?
think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause
Xbox 360.
yeah, I
It's
remember.
like this the CD tray wasn't working.
That's right. That's yeah.
So
You brought a copy of a Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I remember we played that a bit. Um, and then you, and then it was we played Dark Souls 2. So that's the first time I played one.
right.
And
If I went to, I don't even know if you remember this. I went to the links and ordered it because I was so hyped about Dark Souls 2 at the time. Because for his just a little bit
more
of
backstory.
context for me, I I played every single one of these games. I played Demon Souls and onwards. So haven't finished them all, but most of them I have. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to get my friends into Dark Souls 2 because this game I'm having a blast.
Yeah. And so
And so I got this fucking Xbox 360. The CD tray does not work on it anymore. So I had a funny idea to just like cut out a piece of paper and write Dark Souls 2 machine on it and just tape it over the CD tray.
that's a
And give it to Oliver to play Dark Souls 2
some
digital edition.
so I'm playing this fucking game, dude, and I'm just getting wrecked. I'm just not understanding what's happening. And Mike is like coaching me. He's like, "All right, dude, what you want to do is this, and that." And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on? Why do I suck at this so bad?" Like, I would just like, "Oh, it's an RPG. Cool. Let's armor up." And then I'm like, "Wait, I can't roll." He's like, "Yeah. You gotta like, change your armor up. You're too heavy." I was like, "Oh, okay." I change out my armor, one shot. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And then every time you die in Dark Souls 2, you lose a chunk of your health, like your overall health. And I was just
Oh,
like,
that's right. I forgot about that. No,
yeah. And to me, that
pretty
was
rough.
like that was the thing. I was like, oh, you just punished me
Mhm.
for losing. Like, well, how the
Yeah,
fuck am I gonna get better? Like, this is rough. This is before like any of the we're going to talk about it later, but like the discourse around this type of shit, like I had no idea. I didn't know anything about these games, so I was just like, I don't know, it just seems really unfair. Like, how can I get better if you're going to kneecap me every time I lose? I can't learn that way. um so that kind of like just turned me off towards it. But
yeah,
later I come back to Japan, and um I don't know. I was looking for games for my PS4, and I picked up Neo. I was like, this seems cool. I don't
mhm,
know. I'm into this type of shit. Let's check it out.
yeah.
And like, man, I gave it like a week. Like, I'm not kidding. Like
Oh,
every
man.
day for a week. And I just could not get
You were
past
on
that
that
first
beach.
ball. Oh my god, that fucking beach. I hate that. I like I know here's the worst part. I don't like that game. That beach forever burned in my mind. I know exactly. I can walk through it like, I could draw you a
In your
fucking
mind.
map. Yeah, 100%. I know where they're hiding. I know where the little jerks are hanging out. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I just really couldn't get through it. And I was like, man, what is the deal? And I was like changing weapons, changing like, stances, all that stuff. And I'm like trying to
Mhm.
just really push through. And at the end of it, I just felt like the game style is not so much, it's not, I didn't feel like I was being challenged. It felt like I wasn't being challenged to be a better player. I feel like I was being challenged to figure out how to get past some silly bullshit. Like, how do I cheese this shit? Like, where's the hidden gun? Where's the cannon I need to fire before? Because what the fuck is this? Like, how am I
I think
fighting
there
this?
is a cannon in that
I
game.
bet they're fucking it. That's my point, right? It's like, how can I poke him from the farthest like distance so he can't hit me, right? Like, that's what I was like trying to do the whole
Yeah.
fucking game, and I just couldn't get past it. And I was like, maybe it's just this could just not be for me, right? Like, maybe this is because
Mhm.
I'm crazy about Monster Hunter, right? And so it's not like challenging ARPGs are not my jam, but it's just like, I don't know, it's something
Yeah.
about the idea of like, it's just it's uh it feels like an impediment to not just enjoying the game, but literally like just getting
Through it.
not getting through it, but getting like the full value of the experience.
Oh, I see.
Like, I'm being gate kept from, well, I have to assume because I don't know what else there is because I can't get past it. But if there was more there, like, I'm never gonna see it. And like, and
Yeah.
then when you hear like, oh my god, this Dark Souls 3 is incredible because blah blah blah, it's like, yeah, but I'll never get there because the skeleton keeps fucking shanking me, and I don't, and I can't, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, why
Yeah.
is it right?
Yeah, I think it for Souls specifically, I feel like and I'm not saying like this is good game design
Mm,
necessarily. This is not a commentary on that at all. It's a matter of I feel like if you allow yourself to get into that type of game based on whatever it could be the aesthetic, could be just the overall vibe of like how everything is. Like for me, like I love the look of Demon Souls immediately from that first cutscene. You had this knight surrounded by enemies, and like you
yeah,
just like at the time when Demon Souls came out, you just didn't have a game like that. You just
right,
didn't have like this knight completely covered in plate armor with a sword and a shield. There's a massive dragon, there's a giant demon, all these cool things that you see and it can experience. So, like, that's what drew me in initially is the aesthetic and just that vibe of this dreary medieval fantasy, right?
yeah,
Um, but I Demon Souls didn't click with me, right? Like I couldn't really progress in it. It was super difficult. Even though I tried and I tried and I tried, I barely got past like the second boss. And then I just fell off the game and I never went back to it. And the same thing happened to Demon Souls, or sorry, Dark Souls. When Dark Souls came out, uh, I did very similar thing happen where I just like I couldn't figure it out or just I tried different ways to cheese the game, just wasn't clicking. But it wasn't until Dark Souls 2 came out that the game system actually clicked with me. And then I started really deep diving into the game and like learning all the systems, learning all the routes and how to do it and how to progress the way I like to play the game. And then I eventually went back and played those other games, and then I was better at that because I learned from this other game. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a series that builds on itself, right?
Mm.
So like each game has its varying ways of difficulty and systems, and like it's funny because like Dark Souls 2 is the most weird game out of all the Souls games because it is just such like an offshoot, it feels like, because of all the added systems and how you play the game. Even just the look of the game and all the animations are completely different from every other Souls game. So like it's kinda like the ugly duckling of the series because it's not the most popular, that's for sure. But, that is the game that where it I would say it clicked for me and allowed me to really start to get into the Souls games, going forward. So, what about you, Matt? You said you played Dark Souls 3, and, you could play that with friends, and that changes everything.
Oh,
The
what?
fact that you can play those games in co-op.
Oh, fucking.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you
So
should have
you
told
can
me.
play all of them, I believe. I
Yeah,
think 3 was the easiest to get co-op set up,
yeah,
but yeah, I've played most of the Souls games. 2 and 3 are the only ones I've beaten now. 2 was the first one I beat, and I don't know why I never beat 1. I don't know if 2 just drew me in more or whatever it was, yeah,
mhm. Yeah,
I
two's a long game too, like,
oh yeah, for
it's got
sure.
it's a lot of content, and the DLCs are fantastic. Like, they had, like, the Crowns DLCs, like, 3 new zones, based around these lords and their crowns, and, like, they each take you to this crazy new environment. And like the first DLC for that game was like this crazy like sunken temple of poison and this dragon with a giant spear through its chest, and it was just like leaking poison everywhere. And like
Awesome.
and it's just like it's like this amazing like just visual storytelling of just everything going on. And like the way you interact with the map, you have to use a bow to activate like triggers all around to raise and lower platforms or open doors. It was so
Huh.
cool. So cool.
Yeah,
Man,
I.
now I'm kind of upset that I never got to that.
I'm sorry. Sorry, we'll have to come back to it on our Dark Souls 2 podcast.
Oh boy. I mean, they remade the first one, right? Is that available
They did,
for
yeah.
us to play?
And a remaster, yeah.
Does that have multiplayer? Like,
The
I'm willing to do it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
friends. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
depressing.
the thing is it's not intuitive co-op.
Oh,
It's
fucking
best
they
nothing's
suited for
intuitive in that game.
randoms co-op. I will say Neo 2 has actual co-op where you create a lobby and you just play the whole game in co-op if you want.
See,
Um,
something like that sounds like fun, but I'm not into
yeah,
fucking getting poked to
yeah,
death. It
for
hurts.
sure. Just experiencing that with more people definitely takes the
Yeah.
sting away for sure.
Same with Monster Hunter, I think. When
I even like Elden Ring. Elden Ring's a great game. The most recent Souls
never
type
heard of
game.
it. I don't know what that is. What is that a Go ahead.
So so that game also has co-op, but like it's a huge open world type game. So like co-op doesn't really work as well in the systems that they made. But there is a fantastic mod on PC that just is called Seamless Co-op. And you can just play that whole game with just a group of friends. You can have like I think 5 people total, including yourself, just running around destroying everything. It definitely takes the sting away, but like it adds more health to everything the more people that are in. So, but yeah, it's very fun. Very fun way to play that game.
Yeah. Um there's some other so like even though I feel like the game Dark Souls games and Souls likes can be rather punishing, there's another genre of difficulty, if you would like to call it, that literally goes out of its way to just screw you because it's got that fucking that coin operation mentality. And the
Are
best,
you talking about
you
Ikaruga?
better fucking believe I'm talking about Ikaruga. That fucking game, dude, is impossible. Just not, you just can't. You just can't. Second
Yeah,
level
but
is as far as I've ever gotten.
it's so ridiculous that you can't really fault it.
No,
It's
it's.
just well,
Have you played this
this
before, Matt?
isn't for me, and I don't mind.
No, I actually haven't heard of it.
Okay, so this is a
Bullet hell.
yeah, it is the bullet hell game. You're just like an airplane or whatever, some
Ah,
spaceship, and you've got bullets
Shoot 'em
coming
up.
at you,
Bullet hell, yeah.
and you got to flip. You basically have like a polarity thing, like a light and dark. So when light bullets come at you, if you change to light, they don't affect you. They don't hurt you. Um, but you can't, like, you have to also affect. I believe you have to match or do the opposite I don't know what it is. It's confusing, but like basically you have to match colors while you're bullet helling, and it is just like fuck it. It's nonsense. It's just a whole screen is just full of fuck. It's impossible.
huh.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
But it's
like
See,
still fun.
DDR on super difficulty.
Yeah,
I'm actually checking out some gameplay right now, and it does look pretty nuts. I think I actually might have heard of this a long time
yeah.
ago.
It's
Yeah,
an
it's
older
an
game.
old game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a retro game now. Or
Oh, fucking stop it. Fuck you, Mike.
hey,
Yeah.
no,
Steam
oh
shows it out at
fuck IGN,
2014.
fuck IGN. They
Uh,
started this.
it was
Red Alert 2 is not retro.
It's not. It's not, and I hate everyone. What do you call it? It was on the Dreamcast and it was out on arcades. But I think it's available now on the Switch. I think they like remastered it or something. Because I saw somebody using that like vertical grip to play it.
Oh, okay.
You can like flip the Switch so it's vertical, and then that's the way to play it. Because if you're playing on a TV, it'll just give you the bars. Um,
I see. I see.
Yeah, but phew, that game is incredible. But so that I feel like that one's okay. It gets a pass. It's like, yeah, this is what this is for. This is to steal
Right.
my money, but also challenge the hell out
And
of
be a
me.
spectacle and
Yeah,
just kind of like watch it happen.
right. That's the other thing.
And sometimes you can interact with it. So
Yeah, if you're good enough.
sometimes.
And that's a game where like if somebody was good at it, I'd be in shock and awe. But also like
Exactly.
I think it's still like visually appealing. It's like you know what you're gonna get, right? Like I don't think I'm gonna be surprised after the first level because it's all gonna be that, right? So I don't feel
Mm.
like I'm gated from much. It's just like if I want to keep playing this and it not be level one, I gotta get better. But
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna because whatever, right? But then there's the poor design field, and
Yes.
Mike and I have a fucking we have an experience.
Yeah.
Let me give you the lore here. Mike and I went to college together
Yeah.
for a bit, and I would spend a lot of time in Mike's place. We would spend fucking obscene amounts of time playing games together. Just like when I tell you, like we would play like Rock Band, and like I'd leave his house and have like fucking tunnel vision because I've been staring at the screen for too long, and I'm like
Yeah.
everything's warping. This is fucking weird. That was
Yeah, man.
it was like that.
Probably like 6 to 7 hours at a time after school.
It
It'd be
was
like 2 in the morning when you left or some shit like that.
it was ridiculous.
It was bad.
Um, but yeah,
College life.
college. But yeah, the the game that really I think broke us, but also solidified our friendship
That's right. Yeah.
was Gears of
The
War.
bond forged in blood.
Gear the first Gears of War is so much fun until you fucking get to the end, and it is just the most absurd. Like it's the biggest fuck you I've ever gotten in gaming.
It's a trial. It is the trial of trials.
So like
Gears of War.
basically it's unbeatable. I don't care what anybody says. It is unfucking beatable. Like you have to fight this boss on a train, and so
Yeah.
like all the great parts of that game, which is like basically fire and maneuver, taking cover, you know, providing cover fire, all this fun stuff you do with your
Yeah.
friend is just out the window. It's just like, well, who cares? Now you're in a corridor with a bunch of boxes. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna gorilla slam your back into all these boxes, but you're never gonna get anywhere because this jerk is just standing. I don't even think he's in cover, and he's just mowing you down.
Right,
And
right.
there's just
He has a force field of krill
oh,
around
that's
him at
right.
certain points, and you have to shine some kind of light on him or
Uh,
throw an explosive at him to get the krill fly away for a few seconds.
yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna
and
look it up right now.
for further context, this is a story of playing this game on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Normal difficulty, just fun. It's a fun experience. It's just
Is it is
it's
it though?
normal.
I mean, I don't.
I would say like you could beat it, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
like
if you could beat it,
you
yeah.
can complete it, but like playing it on the hardest difficult because like I still remember the conversation we had to this day of like, hey, you want to play Gears of War? Yeah, sure, let's do it. How like because I guess you were on your kick of like beating Metal Gear 3 on like the hardest
Hell
difficulty,
yeah,
so
baby.
we're just like, well, we got to play it on the hardest
Well,
difficulty. It's like, all
but
right,
there were two of us. I figured, you,
yeah, it'd be
you
easier, right?
well, not only easier, but like you have the benefit of somebody who can like either back you up or do the fucking shoulder pat and you're back to life or whatever, right? Like they just
Mhm.
pat all the bullets out of you. You're like, oh, I'm better,
That's
whatever,
right.
right?
Just
But
give it a little pat of encouragement.
yeah,
You know
give-
what? I didn't get shot.
yeah, I'm good actually. It's internal bleeding gone. Thanks, friendship. But you can't like I don't think we even had that much trouble. Like, I mean, it was a
Uh,
challenge,
th-
but I don't think
there
it was
was the first like wall was the car
the car.
level
Yeah, well,
where you
that's
had to drive because like in that level you had to one person could drive, the other person could operate a light, but the car didn't work when one thing or the other was going. So one person
right.
had to stop driving while the other person shined a light against these krill that would just insta kill you because it would just be like tidal waves of these demon bats to just like kill you uh, out in the open with this car. And on normal mode, you're encouraged to drive as fast as possible. On the hardest difficulty, no. You
Yeah,
have to play that level at a snail's pace and kill the krill at certain points of time, stop the car, shine the light. Okay, we're good. Okay, just basically memorizing paths,
right.
just
That's fucking horrible.
working together.
It was fucking horrible.
Uh, I
But
I think that was the first time we are like, "You think we should lower the difficulty?" It's just so bad. It was
yeah,
terrible.
but I think the main takeaway from that I took was just that like it um the thing with difficulty in that scenario was not so much that it was like, oh, this is a difficult challenge to overcome. It was more like, yo, you just turned the numbers up really high and not in my
That's
favor.
it.
And it was
Yeah,
like, why? And everything that any strategies that we employed throughout the game to get to that point were just out the window. It's like, well, it doesn't matter what you did
right.
or what you learned or what tactics you used. Like, you're screwed. And we talked about it before, but I want to say we kind of just cheesed the game somehow. I don't remember how we beat that or if we did.
For the final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I feel like I recall it being a fluke
Yeah.
because he still had his shield up and we just were able to snipe at his head and he just died. And we're just like we were astonished that he fucking died. We were like, "Oh, oh my god.
Okay.
He's fucking dead. We did it." We got the cutscene.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of shit drives me crazy. Like I think
Yeah.
it kills the experience like big time. Big time. But yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
the stat cranking for just like, okay, you're playing on hard mode. We didn't plan this. You're not supposed to play the game like this, but you selected hard mode because every game just has to have this selection here.
Yeah, like
So,
what why? Like just don't. I don't know.
and I'll say this: every Gears of War has this problem. Every
Uh
single one. Every hard mode on those games are just a terrible experience.
just
Every
sponges.
single one. Yeah. It's just like a notorious problem with the Gears of War series. And it's not just that game, obviously. A lot of
Yeah.
games do that stat padding. One interesting case I just remembered as we were talking about Gears of War. What's the name of you played it all? I haven't played it. The game where you're playing as the bounty hunter, like motorcycle guy during the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, Days Gone?
What's Days Gone?
Yeah.
Days Gone, as far as it has like 11 different difficulty modes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, what is going on there? It's just like, okay, this time it's you get 14% less ammo around the world, or just like it just keeps going
Yeah.
up and up and up. It's just like choose your own experience, I guess. Like the fuck is going on with that?
Yeah, I think
What difficult did you play that game on, Oliver?
I don't fucking remember. Fucking d- dummy.
Default?
Just I don't know. Maybe I probably did it on like just like hard because once I heard them, the fucking mouth breathers talking about their lives, I was like, oh my god, this is a game for dummies. I better make this harder. Like, God, that game is so much fun, but for all the wrong reasons. Like,
Yeah.
I did, but here's a little bit of difficulty on that. That game has weird difficulty where like it only gets hard when it's most fun, and it's like when you're basically when you're fighting off a horde. Like that's when it gets
Mhm.
crazy hard because you'll you know you just walk by or you ride because you got to be cool. You ride by a
Right.
fucking spot. I'm like, oh, let me go pick up some twigs or berries or whatever the fuck you pick up in there. I forgot. Whatever you get in that game, you get off your bike and then suddenly there's like 300 of them and they're all running at you. You're like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Mhm.
And the risk reward thing kind of kicks in. And it's super fun and engaging. And when you die from like 300 zombies, you can't feel bad about it. You can't be like,
It's like,
yeah, it's like
yeah,
this is my
the
fault.
odds are impossible.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
am I doing? What am I doing wrong, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. Matt, did you end up playing Days Gone? I feel like you did.
No, no, that's one that I did want to try, but
Yeah,
just never got the chance. There's a lot of games though that have that kind of similar, I don't know what you want to call it, artificial difficulty. Like
yeah,
Destiny, I feel like has it. Shit, the Division games, I feel like kind
yes.
of have it.
Oh
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah.
fuck
much,
yeah.
pretty
Yeah. A
much
lot
any
of
kind of like shooter RPG.
Mm.
yeah, the power level
Oh
grind.
yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest issues with the I don't know if you want to call it like end game, post game, whatever, was just like bullet sponge bosses, the
Yeah.
fact that the enemies could run at you as you're shooting them, and because you can't take out their health fast enough, they creep up on you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's
You know.
just that's not it.
I
That's not the way to do difficulty.
yeah, I think we actually quit playing. What was it, Breakpoint? Because that fucking boss was just so like
Oh yeah. We
bullshitty.
we were playing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon
TM,
Breakpoint, right?
TM trademark.
Mhm.
And that's right. We're not sponsored. Please sponsor us.
Please
We're
sponsor
not playing your game
Tom
again though.
Clancy, please. The Tom Clancy estate.
We're not.
Whatever you.
We won't play your game until you sponsor us. This is a call out, a mic drop to the Tom
Damn,
Clancy
I can't
estate.
drop. I can't afford a new mic. I'm not dropping.
Shit, you get a good point there.
Sorry,
Anyways,
I only get
but yeah,
35%
we
of the
played
bits.
that. Oh yeah. Hey man, I'm only getting 20 here.
Oh, wait a minute. Are there like administrative costs? What
Matt's
is this?
getting the rest,
Oh,
okay?
okay. Oh, that's different. You should have said that. I would have been kinder.
Hey, it's a developing contract.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. Tell them about the
So
boss. Yeah.
Breakpoint, we were playing this game. It was a game initially released to get the Tom Clancy franchise. They needed another game that was all about grinding and power levels and Diablo loot. So they designed the game around that, where you should be grinding and progressing. But later on, they just said a lot of people. This pissed off a lot of people. So we're just gonna add in realism mode, where it just gets rid of all the power leveling stuff. You don't have to grind for guns. You don't have to find a rare AK-47. Uh, it's just like the old other Ghost Recons where guns kill people and there's still giant robot tanks.
Sure.
And so, but you can blow them up with rocket launchers and do all these things. But so like since the power level restraints weren't there anymore, we just saw, oh, you can just go to the final boss and keep fighting and kill him. It's like, all right, let's just do it. So we did that, but
Yeah.
we didn't kill him
No.
because that boss fight was atrocious,
It was.
especially in
It's.
realism mode.
Oh, it was so bad. He had a shield of drones that just
That's right.
didn't let him get shot. I was like, "What?
Yeah,
What is this?"
and he every time you got rid of the drones, they would be gone for like a couple seconds. He has a health bar for
Mm-hmm.
some fucking reason.
You know,
Uh,
as you
even
do.
in realism mode. Uh, he's just a man. He's not even wearing armor. He
He's
doesn't
just a
even have like
man.
a Kevlar mask on or anything like
Mm-mm.
that, you know.
Just hanging out.
Uh, he every time he would flood the room with these elite units that are covered in Kevlar and just really powerful weapons, and they would just sweep you
Just one
across the
shot you.
floor.
Just
Yeah.
insane.
If
Just
he's not
Wow.
one-shotting you, they were one-shotting you. So,
yeah. And
a lot
then
of times we restarted that fight where it's just like, "Up, I'm down. All right, you gotta flank around. I'm dead. All right."
yeah, and it's also in the dark inside of like
Yeah,
a office or some shit. So there's no
yeah.
like
It's a
where to
computer
really,
lab.
yeah, there's nowhere to really move. And then the what really sent me over was that I managed. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to get in his face, and I went to shank him with my knife, and the game just straight up said, "You can't do this." And I was like, "What the
Yeah,
fuck?
there's like a
What?"
text prompt, right?
Yeah,
It just
yeah, it
says
said
no, not allowed.
not available or some shit or like action not available.
What?
And I was like, "Wait, all right, I'm done. I'm like, get out of here. What is that?" Right? Like,
Yeah,
and not to say the game
that
was hard at all, because it was like you, me, Chad, and like Alec. We'd all fucking fly in a bullshit
it was
helicopter.
so fun to just fuck
Oh,
around in that game.
I loved it. It was
That's
like,
where it was at. Yeah.
yeah, just you just go like, what? I'm gonna go take that base, or we have a mission. Somebody has a mission here or something. Let's just what's the mission? Kill everybody. Okay, let's just do it. We can go in
Mm.
silent or we can go in loud, and inevitably we just like drop a helicopter in the middle of the base, fucking like parachute down. Somebody would land on a roof, get stuck or something. We
Yeah,
just
it
go
was just
ham.
comedy.
And it
Yeah.
was so much fun. And then like this stupid wall just comes up, and it's like, how that like.
It's just the game is just not designed for you to play it like that. Like you would have to probably switch back to power level mode, do your grind, get all
Uh,
your legendary gear, and then fight the final
yeah.
boss to properly do
But
that.
I don't even
Because
he wasn't even the final boss. That's the crazy part.
well,
He
there was DLC stuff, right?
No, no,
That
no.
was
Like
all included.
that wasn't even like he is the final boss, but that wasn't the final fight. There was more.
Right.
It was like we were maybe like 10 missions in. I'm like, man, that really like
Well,
just
they had like the open sandbox approach to
yeah.
everything. Like they had like their conspiracy map from fucking Always Sunny.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
And
Yeah.
so, like, you could choose your own path basically of which way you wanted to go. And he was supposed to be like, okay, he's available. You know where he is. He's there, but it's supposed to be a wall based on power level. So,
Right,
but
right.
since the power level wall isn't there, you can just access it immediately and kill the super spider scorpion tank out in front of his office
That's
repair
right.
store.
Yeah, his Spider Slayer, the fucking 90s
Yeah.
Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah,
So goofy.
from Command and Conquer 3.
Yeah, it's just so dumb. Um, but yeah, I think and same with Division actually. I mean that's the thing though. Like those games are attractive because you can do this like kind of mix of like solo multiplayer. You can jump in and help people do missions and stuff. And like I
Right, right.
understand that's a really tall order to like balance difficulty for multiple people and at the same time and all that stuff. But like when it
Mhm.
gets like cheesy like that, or you're just like, oh no, I just have a
Yeah.
shield and I'm just not allowed to get fucking knifed. Like what the fuck am I
Yeah,
doing here? Like get out of here.
you have to play this like it's some kind of Metroid boss or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and the
Just
worst
didn't
part
feel good
was,
at all.
like, I was spec'd for melee stuff. I was like, "Man,
That's
thanks,
right. There's
bro." Like,
uh
alright.
you're the Splinter Cell guy.
Yeah, I wanna be 3rd echelon or 4th
That's right.
or 5th, I don't know. I don't know how many echelons there are.
There's a few.
They're birds, right?
So I've heard, yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard of them.
Anyway.
Anyways. Let's see. We don't have a script, so
I can continue. So
you want
like
okay.
uh one way I like to approach difficulty in games is I typically like this goes for pretty much any type of game really that allows me to gear up or choose my loadout or progress by leveling up a character. Um, not all of them, but for a lot of them, that ways I enjoy to play those games is by making myself as overpowered as possible
Hell
to
yeah.
make the game easier on myself and play on the hardest difficulty and still be breezing through it. That's just really satisfying to do. So that's what I usually like to do in like Dark Souls. Though sometimes I will pick playstyle like over it'd be like more so akin like form over function. If it something just looks cool and I really like how it looks, I'll try to make it work. It's, and so if it doesn't work, I'll just switch back to the OP shit.
Oh
I'll be
well,
disappointed. Go ahead.
when it comes to RPGs, looking good is half the battle.
For real,
That's
dude.
right.
That's a fact. That's a
What it
fact.
comes down to. Fashion Souls or Fashion Hunter, like
Fashion
all
hunter.
Yeah.
these, yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's like even in multiplayer games, like Battlefield, I would typically play the character class and set up my loadout to be where I was prepared for every situation that I usually put myself in, be the most prepared as possible. Had a lot of fun in Battlefield 3, just playing the support class. All right, immediately you have infinite ammo. You just have an ammo case. You can do whatever you want. You can have C4 in your kit. So now you just have infinite C4. You have an LMG that has 200 rounds in the magazine. You never have to reload. It just goes, it just keeps stacking. It just like, it's free real estate,
For it's for real estate. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, a game that some of us are playing. I guess Mike isn't playing it because whatever. But he's too busy with Baldur's Gate over here. But Sea of Stars has a pretty interesting like way to adapt your own difficulty. In the way of like these kind of they're I think they're called artifacts. I don't remember exactly.
Relics,
Relics,
relics
right?
maybe.
Yeah. So you can basically purchase, and they're pretty cheap considering in game. You can purchase these items that will affect the gameplay in a way that kind of it changes the difficulty in different ways. It's like for example,
mhm,
you can have one that just gives you your health back after every fight, or in the way like Chained Echoes does, or you can have it so that it's more there's like a rhythm, not a rhythm, but there's like a button prompting type like
Like
active,
timing.
yeah, timing block thing that happens, and it'll give you like a more what is it what was it? It gives you like a louder or a bigger prompt saying that you were successful in your block, so you can like
Like a
get the
star flies off your character,
right. So
and
that
I think it makes a sound.
I think so too. And it
Yeah.
gives you so you can like better learn the timing of some of the attacks
mhm.
and stuff.
Would you would you compare the system to something like a Bastion did with the tonics?
I didn't play
If you remember
Bastion.
that game?
I didn't
You
play it.
didn't play? Oh my god!
Oh, whoa, whoa,
Shit!
Oh,
Shit!
um,
whoa.
Oh, shit!
Are you all right, dude? What
I'm
just?
not.
Oh my
I'm not
god!
okay.
What just happened?
It's end the show.
Whoa! Shut it down, guys.
Shut it down. All of it didn't play Bastion.
Do I gotta play Bastion?
I
We might
played
have to.
I played some of Bastion, but I'm forgetting the tonics. They did change the difficulty in a sense, didn't they?
Yeah, they also it was like it's positives and negatives typically, but
Yeah.
some of them were more positive, and then some of them were straight up just negatives. But you get
Yeah.
like more money or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say the relics in
Yeah.
Sea of Stars is kind of similar to that. I
I
don't
yeah,
really
it might be more closer to skulls
In
from
Halo?
Halo. Yeah,
Damn.
for Bastion. It's been a while since I played Bastion, but
So Bastion's like
same.
Halo? Okay, I'll check it out.
it's that's what listen, every listener here, I'm saying it now, Bastion is just Halo.
Okay.
It's not. It's a
Uh,
joke.
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks interesting. I'll check it out. I feel like I might have
Yeah.
tried this at some point,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
It was I think it's the first game where that put that studio on the map
Okay.
because it was a Xbox 360 arcade title.
The summer of arcade or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah. Probably in that. I just remember being super surprised and just just overwhelmed with just like good vibes playing that game because it
Mm,
was just it was a very good game at the time, but it has been a while since I played it. Music is fantastic.
okay. Um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
I think yeah, things like that are kind of interesting. That kind of like give the players more agency over how to do it. But I think it's a better approach than the Days Gone fucking 45
just
different
that.
difficulties. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I was so surprised when I looked that up. I was like, "What do you mean? There's like 15 difficulty
It's
settings?"
just not
And what do you mean they're
necessary.
adding more? The patches just keep coming. They keep adding more. Like, oh
Yeah,
my god.
I think like, but it's just, at the same time, when if it's like if it's an open world type-ish game or a game where you spend more time working on your character than dealing, or not more time, but if you have the opportunity to work on your character's statistics and stuff like that, or gear or whatnot, like I feel the same way. I like to beef up as much as I can. I mean, I'm a fucking lance man. I like to get as tanky as I can.
Armor up.
Yeah, armor
Yeah,
up.
like
I don't need a move. You need a move.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
In Monster Hunter, I like to if I'm having difficulty with something, I'll usually just go ranged. I like using the guns in that game,
Yeah.
especially from World onward. Like they
Mm-hmm.
fixed the gun system.
They
Oh,
fixed.
I wouldn't say fixed it.
Oof.
Like a lot of people
Uh-oh.
like the older system.
That's
A
it.
lot of people do.
Here comes the hate
So,
mail, man.
all right, my hate mail
Better move and change
is
your address.
I'm
Oliver
sorry.
at Gmail.
No, no, no.
That's my hate mail address.
Oliver at hatemail.com. Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
I hold no responsibility.
um, and then so now let's move on to the best types of difficulties. The games with no difficulty, and
Oh man,
we can only think of one. It's Journey. Journey has no difficulty. You just play it. You just do it.
that's a fantastic experience.
Also,
Yeah.
Mike fucking told me last week that there's people that don't like Journey, and I'm still upset about this. I don't understand how this is possible. I don't understand.
I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Journey, but I just like you have to consider every variable, right? There has to be
Do
somebody out there that doesn't like Journey
do those
who's
people
played it
fall
from
in the
start to
same
finish.
category as the people who haven't played it yet?
I mean, they have to. That's the only acceptable
Right. They
like
fall in that
demographic.
same pool.
Ugh, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't. How could you play it and be like, this is bad? I just,
Yeah.
if you want to play a bad game by that same company, just play Flower or Flow. Those are terrible games. Oliver at hatemail.com. Anyways,
Uh,
yeah, I think there's some games that just don't need to be like challenging, and I think that's super
right.
awesome.
You're right.
Like,
The experience just drives you.
yeah, there's like it's just a different aim, right?
Mhm.
And it when we can do that, I feel I'm gonna make a big bold statement. Oliver at hatemail.com. We can um we can elevate the fucking the format. We can elevate it to just not uh, a source of entertainment necessarily, but we can start to like when we start to like break down these like what I think are kind of like legacy ideas, like where does difficulty kind of come from? Well, it comes from the fact that people needed to make money off of these machines, right? And so
Mhm.
like what you know, Turtles in Time is tough because I needed to put more fucking coins in that damn thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I can do it now, but it's meant for kids and it's supposed to be hard enough for kids, blah 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 blah, right? Now we have this thing where like difficulty socially it has like a social value, I think, where people like to brag about it, I guess. They can beat hard games and stuff. And there's sometimes and there's definitely value in like overcoming a difficult challenge. Like when I beat Fatalis, man, oof, I, oh boy,
Yeah.
it was, oh
Cloud Nine.
yeah, it was. I couldn't believe it. I felt lighter personally. I felt, um, but like same time, there's I feel like there's value in not really um I don't like to use the term, but I really can't think of a synonym for it. But it's kind of like gatekeeping content from the player, not holding them back in any way, and kind of letting the play be the experience, not overcoming the challenge be like the main experience, right? Um, because like I don't know if you guys do this. I don't do it anymore, but I used to have this like this habit where if I was having a rough day, or even not, if I was just playing something, say I was just at home and I'm playing some Smash, right? Just solo Smash, whatever. I'm not putting that controller down until I get a win. Like, I just can't. Like, if I'm getting my ass kicked by
Yeah.
Sora, I'm like, no, 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 no. We gotta change this. Like, Mickey Mouse ain't gonna fucking not tonight, son. And I'm gonna keep going. I get my win, and then I can tap out. Like, all right, I'm good. Bye. Like, I did it.
Right.
Thanks. Finished. Right.
Same way for Battlefield games for me. I always have to end it on a
Yeah.
winning game.
It's weird,
Yeah,
right?
I'll do
Mhm.
that in like Rainbow Six, where I can't go out on a loss. Gotta
Yeah.
win before I can
Yeah,
quit.
you gotta get that boost
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
of
It's like
victory.
that endorphin hit. You're like, yeah, I fucking did it. And it's like, and now I can
Yeah, that felt
rest.
good. That
That's
felt
weird.
good. Yeah,
Yeah. I gotta go to sleep
yeah,
now. It's 3 a.m. What am I fucking doing? I'm like loudly clacking on my fucking GameCube controller. It's like clack, 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 clack.
yeah.
But yeah.
It's also fun to gamble too,
Uh,
especially when you're playing with friends.
well,
It's just like, oh, we got one win, but we could get another.
uh, but with friends, I think it's like less toxic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because eventually someone's gonna be like, "Yo, fuck you, I have responsibilities," and you go, "All right, all right, all right, what's that? What's that? Okay, it's 6 a.m. Okay, all right,
yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
All right." But yeah, I think there's definitely a value to just not having difficulty, and I mean, what's another? I mean, like Abzu, I guess, but it's basically Journey underwater. So
Yeah, was that the same devs?
I think it's
It
like
was, right?
some of them like splintered off and did that. I
Oh, I see.
think.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta play
We
that one
still have
again.
another game to we still have another game of theirs to play.
Oh right, when's that out? Is that out yet?
It's out.
Oh shit, are you
But that
serious?
there's the new one they announced recently, but there's another game we just
Oh
completely
right,
missed about
yeah,
the Archer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh fuck. All right, well, for
Yeah.
another podcast, yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I guess I guess the last thing we really got to talk about is just basically like, yeah, how does this affect the discourse around like games and like
Yeah.
how uh
How's it perceived? How's the public like, it, a big part of it comes down to journalism because, the
fuck.
vocal minority could be so much louder, especially when journalists are talking about it. So that just like amplifies it even more. So
Well,
like
yeah, so I'm a bit unfamiliar.
it becomes like a culture, right? The
Yeah.
get good culture or,
Yeah, so
that kind of.
I don't uh, you were I mean we put it in our survey as well, but you were telling me about this whole like journalism mode where apparently like a lot of journalists are not finishing the games that they're reviewing and stuff.
Right. Yeah,
Um
a recent case that I didn't even know about when we were making the survey that a friend told me about as I sent him the survey is like, is this because of the Armored Core thing that just happened? That apparently it took a journalist like an absurd amount of time, like hours and hours, just to beat like the tutorial level in
uh
Armored Core. So
Jeez.
it resurfaced recently for the new Armored Core game that just came out this past month, and yeah, so it's a bit of a notorious topic now, especially years going on. It really like started like popping off with the Cuphead game, where apparently a journalist couldn't beat the tutorial in that, where it was just trying to teach you how to play the game,
mm,
but
He
like there was
was
no enemies on the screen.
I think it
But
was the guy, he was stuck in the tutorial for like 30 minutes and couldn't figure out how to get past something.
yeah, you couldn't figure out like the mechanics of like to do a jump dash or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just
yeah.
was met with just mountains of ridicule. So, and also just like journalists also talking about how difficult it is to play and review these games in a set amount of time because it is their job to play through the game and give the best critique they can, to write articles about it and push it out, uh, to get it out there for at the right time when the embargo lifts for them to be able to talk about it, because that's how they make their money, right? That's how they get the clicks. That's how
Get
they
them
get the
clicks.
views. So, like, journalists talking about, like, man, we really some people were recalled requesting like basically a journalist mode to get through the game faster in order to review it. That so that was also met with uh, ridicule, understandably. Uh,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
I guess it
there's
like
so many different angles you can look at it.
yeah, it depends on like I mean, there's a lot of things like sometimes I when you think about like a publication, right? Like you have more than one fucking person, right? If someone needs to tap out and just be like, "Yo, this shit ain't for me. I'm not getting it. Can somebody else fucking do this?" Like I think like that's a responsibility on the publication's part. And
Mhm.
just like good business practice, like
Right.
it's like if they're having this much trouble, if their main critique is that it's difficult to do because of a skill issue, which I mean,
Mhm.
skill issue TM, right? But if it really is like, hey, I'm just not good at this shit, I'm just not predisposed to these type of games, it ain't my jam. Okay, cool. Give it to somebody who probably has more interest or experience or whatever, and figure that out.
Right. There's a
Um,
lot of different types of gamers in their company
yeah,
usually. You
and
would
that
hope.
and
You
that's
would
kind
hope
of the
anyway.
thing too, right? Like I feel like everybody has their I don't know what the right word is, like inclinations or
Strength.
yeah, like you're pulled to certain types of games for certain reasons.
Mhm.
And like for me, like I really like action games, and I like RPGs. So you put them together, I'm fucking there. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not a competitive shooter guy. I just can't. I don't. It ain't me. So if somebody was like, "Yo, what
Right.
do you think about Call of Duty, whatever the fuck they're called now, Call of Duty Infinite Death on Space thing,"
Snoop Dogg's Adventure, Call of Duty.
whatever. Yeah, like Call of Duty Denzel Washington edition. Like, okay, whatever.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, I'd play that probably because Denzel. But
It's
yeah,
Denzel, man.
I don't like that shit. Ain't me. So I'll be like, I don't
Mhm.
fucking know. It's probably gonna be really fucking hard for me. And if someone's like, "How's the multiplayer?" I'll be like, I don't know. You find out because I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be yelled at by children, and I'm definitely not gonna do well. So I'll see you later. Um, and so I think that has to come into play. And I would probably say the same. Like I've seen like Cuphead. I haven't played it, but I've seen it and I've looked at it and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that.
Yeah, it's
Ain't for me.
difficult side-scrolling shoot 'em up.
Yeah,
So,
not for me. I don't. I my like
not for me either.
inclinations.
For me.
Yeah, I'm always about like how do my characters move? How does it feel? I care so much about the feel of characters. Um,
Mhm.
something a game I didn't bring up before was Ghost of Tsushima. How like uh, kind of the same thing as Monster Hunter. You kind of start with the basic. You do get more moves and special abilities and stuff, but like if you just stuck to the fundamentals, like that could get you through the whole game. But like there's the movement, the timing, the pacing, the spacing, all that stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's there, and I'm there for it. But
Right.
like but don't somebody asks me about like the latest like visual novel or something. I don't
Yeah.
I don't ask me about a dating sim. That ain't me. I'm not.
Yeah, I guess those aren't typical I guess those would be games that aren't typically difficult either. They're just kind of
Yeah, I guess.
literally, as the genre describes it, a visual
Right,
novel, right?
right, but like, but you wouldn't want me talking about him to begin with.
Right,
Like, what the
exactly.
hell do I know? Like, I like comics, but I don't know this space. So introduce me to it, but I can't be the guy to pass judgment. Like I wouldn't know,
Mhm.
or to even like make suggestions or recommendations based on my experience, which is none, right? Um,
Right.
but I think the worst part is just like it's something I'm working on personally. But it's just like you don't gotta have an opinion on everything. But if you are gonna have an
Mhm.
opinion on it, you gotta just say it and then just be at peace with it, right? Like
Mhm.
if you're a journalist and you're gonna be like, "Hey, this game is really hard," and everyone's like, "Well, you suck, bro. Like, get good," but like, you should, turn off comments, homeboy. Like, no notifications, please. Say what you got to say
Yeah.
and just get on with it, right? And let your
Yeah, get your pay
reputation,
paid, get paid,
yeah, get
do
paid.
the job you want as best you can,
Yeah, this like
don't get torn down.
this culture of like, you know, tearing down people for their, I don't know, not just for their opinions, but for their opinions on like what do you call this, like luxury entertainment. It's like, bro, stop. Like, who cares? Like, this is hard for him. Okay, you know what's hard? I'll tell you what's hard. Super Mario 3 is fucking hard. That's a hard fucking game, bro.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. That is a hard game. How many people, like, if I said that and someone like jumped down my throat about it, I'd be like, all right, you gotta go away. Like, I don't got time for this. Whatever, right?
bro, why do I have to listen to you?
Right. But it
There's
sucks
no
when
reason.
it creeps into like your enjoyment of the game. If
For sure.
that sucks. Like, so I don't talk about
Right.
Souls games, frankly. I don't want to get
Don't
berated
don't
about
worry.
it.
We'll find the game that clicks for you, man.
Yeah, thanks,
Probably
bro.
Neo 2 and co-op.
Yeah, can't wait. Oy. um, but yeah, I haven't like encountered a lot of that personally because I just try not to. When I see somebody be like get good, I'm like, yo, grow up. Like that's a stupid thing to say. People can
Right.
be bad at things. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It definitely pertains to just age and also maturity as well. So the perfect mix of things on social media, healthy versus toxic.
Yeah,
So
seems to lean one way, bro. I say shit out there, man.
healthy is losing pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we're here to do. We're here to fix that. Damn it.
That's
Be
right.
be thoughtful.
When there's
People's
nothing left,
yeah. Like just
you have nowhere else to go.
come here and we'll be nice.
Sometimes,
Mm,
unless it's some parts of Star Wars.
Fucking. If you like episode 9, get the fuck out of here. All right, I'm just gonna tell you right now.
It's just
Just get the
there's a
fuck
door.
out. There's
I
a
know you
door.
can't see a door, but there's a door back there.
You go find it.
Find the door and you go through it and shut the door.
Walk out of here, damn it. It's shame.
If there's no door, but there's like a door hole, just go through the hole. I guess I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god, go through the cat door. All right, you guys want to jump to the survey, the ultra
Uh,
professional survey? You got anything else
I
you want to
I
talk about?
I do have one last
Mm.
thing I can add on the mix. I think I know one game example that has the perfect mix of like the hard mode
Mm.
is delightfully challenging and it just plays on every mechanic in the game, but it also does the problem of what happens in Gears of War.
Oh boy.
And the game I'm talking about is Death Stranding.
No.
So
Oh,
Death
why?
Stranding came out,
Ugh,
the director's cut with their super hard mode, and I absolutely love that game on that difficulty.
you're fucking crazy, dude.
I love the normal mode. I played through it on normal mode. That was my first playthrough. I didn't play on hard mode. I played on very hard mode after that. And very hard mode just challenges you in such a way that where I'm just like, you have to be on top of things. And it's just so satisfying to get those deliveries done at the highest rating possible, knowing the shit you just had to go through.
Yeah.
Where the game, all right, so for context, if nobody knows about Death Stranding, really
What?
quick,
I mean,
there's sections about where you have to stealth through them, and
yeah.
there's a problem where you have containers on your back and you have to protect yourself from rain. The rain is constantly degrading your equipment and gear and all the packages on your back, the things you're trying to like get from one point to the other. In very hard mode, you have to run through the rain. And when you run through the rain, you call ghosts.
Ghosts,
And
baby.
ghosts try to kill you and drag you into the like a tar pit where you'll be met with a demon.
That's the best
Just
description.
a demon shows up and tries to kill you.
Sometimes
And
2. It's great.
sometimes two. Sometimes on very hard, 4.
No. Fuck that,
Yes.
dude. That
So
thing's
that is what I'll get into. Like the overworld gameplay is so fun in my opinion for Death Stranding, where you really just have to be on top of things. You have to plan your routes more so than ever. You really, because you remember getting to the weather station, Oliver,
Yep.
from the first time?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I didn't take that normal path because the normal path takes you through rain. So I
Right.
chose to cross the waterfall instead.
What?
Yeah, I crossed the waterfall instead just to avoid the rain. And
Dude, that's
that was
crazy.
awesome.
How the
That was an
fuck?
awesome
With
challenge.
ladders?
Uh, yeah, with just ladders.
Oh my god.
So, and that's before you have uplink connection, so you can't rely on other
Other people's
people's
stuff. Yeah.
things. So yeah,
Fuck, dude.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That was a
intense.
really cool like challenge, and the fact that the game allowed me to do that
Yeah.
because of it was so open, and just to like, just like that's what I'm talking about when the satisfying like end of high difficulty in games, where it makes you approach it in another way, and it just feels really good to have figured it out. It's like a puzzle being solved,
Yeah.
and like clicks, right? So on the other end, there are boss fights in Death Stranding,
Mm-mm.
and that is
Mm-mm.
the problem with very hard difficulty.
Know about that, dude.
The bosses just have like 5 times as much health.
Ugh.
The boss fight with Cliff Unger in the World War II or
Oh,
World War One bunker,
dude.
it lasts about 35 minutes longer than it should.
Ah, dude, I just finished that like last week, the first fight, because I'm playing
Yeah,
through it on just hard mode, and I was like, bro, this fucking sucks. Like I kept
yeah,
doing it
it's
over and
rough.
over again. I was like, I'm
It's
not
really
bad
rough.
at this game. What the fuck? This is like one of
Yeah,
my favorite games. And I'm like,
yeah.
but this shit ain't it. Like this is not.
Uh,
Ugh.
the part where Mama is in her fucking corpse blanket and is ready to get packed up and go to the mountains.
Oh, you gotta fight
There's
the
a scene,
lion, right?
the lions in very hard mode. You do not fight the lions. You do not, because you cannot. It is an impossible task because four of them spawn.
Oh,
Not one, not two, not
Jesus
three, four
Christ.
of them spawn, and you just have to fucking run, man. Because no cars work, no vehicles work.
All right.
You can only just grab a mama and just fucking book it. Like you just have to find one fucking like path that isn't covered in tar and just find it and just go that way until you are safe.
Just don't look
And
back.
that is just yeah, it's terrifying. It's awful. it's it's not a good experience.
But I think
So
the
yeah.
yeah, the balance is always like, do they give you the tools to take on the
Mhm.
challenge? And is the challenge should be like two should be for me personally, what I like in a challenge in a video game is always how much do I have to prepare for it, right?
Mhm.
So that means I should have the resources available, or it's on me to find the resources available to prepare for that challenge. And is it going to challenge my notion of how to conquer the problem, right? So if I'm
Mhm.
usually going to be shooting things, like is this the first time I'm going to use a fucking flashbang, right? Like that's a good, right? Or maybe I just don't engage in combat at all, like you did, right? And just run, right? But that means I'm gonna
Mhm.
need the stuff to help me run. So like in Death Stranding,
Right.
I'm gonna want the either like the heavy legs, the
Speed legs.
speed legs, or whatever extra
Right.
battery on my back and blah 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 blah, blah, right? So like
Right. Right.
half of the fun for me is preparing for the challenge and then actually facing it.
Right.
I think
Death
that's
Stranding does that in a really satisfying way.
yeah. But
But
then
yeah,
the
I would
baby
not
starts
say
crying. It's fucking
that's
hard.
another thing is to like I wouldn't recommend anyone start that game on very hard.
No, no,
Absolutely not.
no.
Play it on normal.
Yeah,
Play it on normal. It's fine.
it's
If
weird
normal's
enough.
too easy, just try to play it on hard. But like, you're not gonna miss too much. I feel like just very hard. You have to be on top of things. You have to know exactly what you're gonna do, how the game progresses, uh, where the ghosts are, how fast you need to be running by the ghosts, how much rain is gonna be there, because that like that's also a big part of it too. Is upgrades in that game feel so much more impactful
Mm,
when you get them at a very more a higher difficulty. Because when you get the weather station, okay, now I know where the rain's gonna be, the biggest obstacle in the game.
yeah.
Uh, so
Cool,
like
cool.
yeah, you get more gratification out of that, in my opinion,
Yeah.
when things are against you. But I've already experienced the game before already, so it's just looking. It's that was purely just me looking to get more out of it.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? Do you have like a shining example of what makes a good like difficulty in gaming situation for you?
There's a couple of games I feel like did well with it. One I really wanted to mention is Crosscode. The way that they do difficulty in that, they have I guess you could say like a base difficulty, the way the game's intended to be played. And then they have difficulty sliders that let you adjust certain parameters, like when it comes to the puzzles, like timed puzzles, how long you have to complete them, how often enemies will attack you, and then I believe it's how much damage they do.
Hmm.
But the game tells you, like, this is the intended difficulty to play at, but if it makes the game inaccessible, we have these different options you can change to make it more accessible for you.
Right.
Um, but kind of going back to what you were saying about games and giving you the tools and stuff, I think Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are two really good examples of games that they give you all the tools you need to complete something, and they let you go buck wild with how you play it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
For sure.
agreed. There's like I mean they have like master mode, which I feel is a bit I don't really like master mode
It's
because
brutal.
it's
Too
just
much.
it's like goofy. It's like, oh, I hit him, but now I didn't. Like, bleh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
wasting
And that
resources.
your weapon is still broken.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well,
Your
that's
weapon's not regenerating.
to me that's a bit unfair. But then that game is so open, like you just said. There's 100 other ways I can tackle this, right? Like I probably don't even need to
Right.
use a weapon. I could just throw a door at him or something, or fucking I don't know, hit him with a rock that I'm surfing on from you know a mountain away or whatever, right? Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that kind of uh, license for creativity is also really important to kind of balancing that out. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, yeah, and it makes it really approachable, and that's something actually we didn't talk about much was accessibility, because it's one of our survey questions, but I think that's something that um, as we I guess progress as people, like we become more inclusive and we're you know we're the industry is kind of turning towards more player choice and options to make the experience better for them. I think
Mm.
accessibility stuff is huge. We're seeing it
Right.
more and more. Um, and one,
Yeah, like different controller types and
yeah,
everything. Pretty
that,
sure all the big companies have their own version of like an accessibility type thing if
yeah,
it's not third party.
yeah, I don't, yeah, Nintendo hasn't come up with anything yet, but yeah,
Mm.
PlayStation's controller's coming out soon. I know Xbox already has one.
Right, right.
And that's super cool. Um, Personally, like, I'm fucking getting old, boys, and I need them fucking subtitles. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm like, heh, I can't fucking hear anything, and then the game audio like blows my speakers out. I'm like, oh, bro, like, what is the
It's
problem?
I'll say this, Armored Core starts the game up. You know how they do the little brightness check? Right
Yeah,
after that brightness check, sound check.
thank God, thank God,
Oh.
Oh, it
please.
defaults at 70%. Ah,
Mm,
blessing. What a blessing.
ugh. But yeah, I need text that is big. If there's
Yeah,
small text, I'm dying. I'm like, bro, I can't fucking see this, and I don't want to sit in front of my like nose to my TV. Um,
yeah.
just subtitles generally, and even sometimes like I did a lot on my computer because if I'm writing a lot or I'm typing a lot, it gets to my eyes a bit. You know, having like the option to like invert colors or like colorblind mode, stuff like that. Not uh, Some games do the instead of tapping a button, just hold a button type thing.
Hmm.
I go for that every time because I'm like, this is stupid. Like, like unless it's Metal Gear Solid 4 and you're fucking tapping through and it has like a real like reason for it's trying to physically tire you out so you can connect with the character. And boy, let me tell you, it
Yeah.
fucking does. Uh, I'm not in for it. Like, just let me hold the button. I'm good. But also,
Yeah.
please make that button pumped nice and big for Grandpa over here because I just can't see that shit.
Yeah. You're gonna
uh,
love Final Fantasy 16.
bro, bro, don't even. Like, also, something I wish more games would do, especially fucking Death Stranding. It drives me insane that this is a problem that this game has, or just like a missed opportunity. But there's so much reading to be done in that game, and it's like, why can't I have an audio file? Like, give me
That would be
fucking
really nice.
Microsoft Sam to read that shit. I don't care, but I'm walking around, dude. I'm on the road. It's quiet out here.
Yeah. It
Like,
would be nice to have that option. Just
yeah, let me just
audio
hear.
logs.
Yeah, But I think
music.
that's
The music makes sense. They do the music. They time the music, right?
right.
Part of the experience.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But I think it's also like a backlash to like everybody was doing audio logs for all storytelling after BioShock. And it was like, all right, tone it down. Like
That's true,
I don't
right?
want to listen the whole game. I want some exposition. I want some things to happen.
Yeah, it
Um,
was new then. It's not new anymore.
right. Exactly. It's like we can do it better, right? We can do it better.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Um, and then some another game. Fuck, we're never gonna get to the survey. But another game that I totally forgot about that has uh, I don't even know if you'd call it difficulty, but it's just like the most chill shit. It's just Animal Crossing. Like it's not
No.
like hard.
Stardew Valley
Stardew
or
Valley, right? Like those kind of like I mean, there's like a wave of it, right? Like chill games are a thing now, and that is like I'm totally on board with that. Um,
right.
more of that, please, because some days I just don't want to. I don't want to lose. You know, it's
Yeah,
just it.
you just wanna manage something, you know? Feel like
Yeah,
you've accomplished a task
right. Some
without it
days,
being just something that's beating you in the ground.
yeah. Like what's like there's fuck. There's like no negatives in like Animal Crossing besides like oh you got like stung by a bee or something simple. You know, oh you
I never played it. Was Viva Pinata was something like that too, right?
never played that either,
Anybody.
actually.
Oh shit.
Same.
Nobody played it? Or never mind.
Alright, fuck.
Cut that out. Editor?
Lame game.
Editor, cut
We'll do
that
it
out.
in post. Uh, we cut
Cow
nothing.
Garden?
There's that.
Cow
Oh,
Garden?
please, yes, more chow. I mean, I don't know if that even a game within a game. I think it's just like it's just somewhere to put all those animals and vials I keep picking up. Uh,
Why
I'm like,
there's so many vials?
why?
Oh, Drake, man, you crazy. You crazy, man.
Um, but yeah, I think chill games are honestly, I think chill games are like opening up the industry to like a way bigger market, and that's I'm with it. I want to chill. I want to go fishing, but not like Bass Pro
Mhm.
fishing. I just want to fish, you know, like like you can tell me the weight of the fish. Hey, cool. But if you start like you know yelling at me about like the angle of my rod or something, like get the fuck out of here. I don't got time for this. I'm not that guy. You know, if I get minus
Uh,
points because I'm not wearing long sleeves and a fucking boonie hat, like I'm out. Anyways, uh, all right, yeah. So let's jump to the survey, boys.
let's do it.
Okay. So first thing we asked how many questions were there? 7 questions. One of them was just like you know if you want to let us know who you are, this is a place to do it. So it's really 6 questions. Um, and a lot of them were anonymous, um, and they're kind of just kind of open ended. A lot of them. So first question was, what's your preferred difficulty? I think I shared this in the group chat, but we are at 41.7% of the responses say they prefer to play on hard mode, and
Mhm. Got some
50%,
elite gamers.
yeah, for real, 50% said normal. Um, and then 8.3% said they like to play on journalism mode. So thanks for the memes. Um, I have a
That might have been one participant.
motherfucker. I
That might have
have
been just one person that said that.
yeah,
But it wasn't like I did speak to that person, and that is not a meme to them.
we
That
know
is
who you are,
that
is what we're trying to say.
yeah, they spoke openly to me about how they just prefer to play it on the easiest difficulty possible.
For
Like
sure.
they really don't mind coasting through a game, even if it's supposed to be difficult or intended to be. They just want to experience a key aspect of it, and that's usually story
Mm-hmm.
and the visuals and animation, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
they don't want to feel challenged. Whereas, as we see here in the survey, is the opposite of a lot of folks
Yeah.
who answered in.
Well, wait, Matt, you actually participated in the survey. What was your answer? Give it up, man.
I put hard for that one.
Yeah. Why?
Okay.
Um,
why do you like to play on hard mode?
for a lot of games, I find normal mode, and it's not the case for all of them. More so, it's like shooters. I find it, but it's just kind of too easy sometimes.
Yeah.
And I like the reward kind of feeling you get from beating something more difficult. Like Halo, for example, I always set them to I forget what they were called, but the second
Heroic and
hardest.
legendary.
Yeah, it's a heroic, sometimes legendary, but usually heroic, just to get that kind of like gratification of beating something
Right.
difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I tend to start with hard and then I I inevitably just move back. I'm like, you know what? Maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'm not enjoying this that much. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. All right, let's go to the next question. Um, okay, we got a lot of answers to this one. So, what is a game that you liked with a higher difficulty? Um, I don't have all the names attached to these, so I'm just gonna say these answers out. Someone said Halo 3. I
Mhm.
enjoyed Halo 3. I like that one. Elden Ring. I've never heard of this game. I don't know what
Nope.
this is.
But there it is. It keeps coming up. I don't
Keeps
know.
coming up. It's so weird. The Arkham series or Spider-Man. Yeah, these are pretty similar in structure, especially for combat. And I kind of agree. I think the harder difficulty for those it's a bit more enjoyable. And it's a bit more
Right. Those game systems have like a mastering system. Like, is there combos, right? You learn
yeah.
combos. You learn how enemies attack you.
right.
You learn how to counter them. That's all a part of that experience. So
Yeah.
I,
you get more out of it. You can feel like you get more out of it at a higher difficulty.
I think with Spider-Man, I think I got the platinum trophy on that one, which I think doesn't that inquire like require you to beat it on the hardest difficulty?
Yep. I think it's like
Yeah,
Spectacular is the name of that one.
yeah,
Yeah. I think with Arkham specifically, like it grounds. I Batman's cool. But what's not cool about Batman is that like he always wins, and that fucking sucks. I think it's boring as shit. He's just a dude, and he's like, I got everything all the time. Like, okay, he's like, I'm
That's
thinking
all he
nonstop.
needs is preparation.
Yeah. But he's also working 24/7. He doesn't sleep. I don't fucking
Yeah.
get it. Anyways, but I kind of like that.
Not Superman, but
Yeah, yeah. I like that. That like kind of grounding of like, oh, I'm vulnerable, right? So I actually have to be a bit more thoughtful about how I do things, in like dealing with crowds and stuff, and like start planning it out. But I've talked about it before, but like the Arkham series combat works almost the opposite of Spider-Man, where in Arkham, when you're Batman, you're going from enemy to enemy, and you're just kind of zipping around like like pinballing all around them, and you're kind of choosing, if there's an enemy with a weapon, okay, I'm going to do the weapon disarming move, and then I'm going to go over here, get a couple more combo points so that I can unlock you know a takedown and take this dude down. So you're kind of just jumping all around. Where like Spider-Man is a bit more responsive. You're more reacting to things that are happening. You're doing a lot more dodging. You're doing a lot more like incapacitating rather than like breaking someone's arm or whatever. Just snapping their legs and being morally okay with it. Batman, that guy's gonna die from internal bleeding, but it's fine.
don't think about it.
Don't think about it. um,
Batman didn't. Why should you?
well, he thinks about everything. That's what I'm trying. He's
Well,
already
I guess that's true.
he as he punches them, he's also injecting a cure for their ailments in his gloves.
How convenient.
Well, Spider-Man does that too a little bit. Like if you knock somebody off a
yeah.
building, they like just get zipped with like a web device to like a nearby building. So it's like nobody really dies. But
Fun, yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
Spider-Man can't kill.
yeah,
Spider-Man always pulls his punches, right?
that's right.
So
That's a big part of it too. He's like I'm not gonna go 100% because I'm not gonna fight the Hulk. Um, but yeah, I think a higher difficulty for those is pretty because and you have a ton of tools, right? You have a ton of gadgets and all that stuff. So
mhm,
um,
different
let's
ways to
see.
play.
Yeah, next one's Doom Eternal. I played the first, not the first, but I mean I have, but the 2016 Doom. I didn't play
Mm.
the follow
I
up.
played a little bit of it as well. I didn't get through it all the way.
Yeah,
I didn't get to Eternal, but it looked like a cool game.
yeah, looks like fun.
Yeah,
The game
I
looks,
started the 2016 recently.
yeah,
Haven't
Yeah,
gotten too far yet.
there's
ye-
something just really satisfying in a shooter where you just don't have to reload.
yeah.
Hmm.
And it's just something really satisfying about
Mhm.
that. Or you just
But
like you have an ammo counter and that's it.
I don't know about you guys, man, but I love the sound of a good reload. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're like
Hmm.
up, you're behind cover, you hear that clack clack, clink, clink, clink,
That's
clink,
why
clink.
the
You're like,
super
yeah.
shotgun's so good.
That's why
Super
all
shotgun.
shotguns are good. You just
Yeah.
that pump. Anyways, next one, someone said gun. the game by Activision, GUN. Never played it, but I know about it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've heard of it too.
I don't know if I know this one.
and they said difficulty on hard with all HUD and UI elements turned off. That's something
So
Oh no.
I fucking love
that's
that shit. Take the UI out.
that's the self-implemented difficulty on top of
Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah,
love that shit. Anyways,
yeah, that's
uh,
fun to do in Monster Hunter as well.
yeah, just take everything up. Okay. Let's see. Recently, I've been playing survival mode on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I think it's MW3.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Survival mode.
I don't know what that
Interesting.
means. Uh,
It must be the hardest.
you gotta eat sandwiches or you get
Yeah, you
tired.
gotta drink water. You
uh,
gotta boil that water.
yeah, keep your temperature up. Or you're fucked.
And probably
Uh,
make a thatch hut.
okay, I don't know if this is like a troll or not, but someone put Pikmin. I'm like, I
Higher
don't.
is that even an option?
Yeah, that's why
Yeah, does it have difficulties?
I didn't think it did,
I don't
but
think it does.
there are like
Well, it
challenge
might be true.
modes, and that was pretty cool. Some of the challenges get really hard, especially in Pikmin 3. And if I didn't play with Liv, there's like no way I could have done it. So like we had to like strategize and stuff, and that's super cool. Let's see, Smash Brothers. I can agree with this. I think Smash Brothers, when you play like against AIs, are sometimes like just too easy. Um, like I don't play with any AIs lower than like 8 or 9, level 8 or level 9, because like I don't know. They do a lot of standing around. They just kind of look at you for a bit, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey, man,
Uh,
the fuck, take advantage. I slipped. I slipped on a banana. What are you doing?" Uh, that game. And then someone wrote,
this just did really quick.
"Yep,
Pikmin does have difficulty
really?
slider.
I don't
Oh.
Yeah.
remember. Okay.
There is after beating story mode, uh, you can or there's a Pikmin challenger achievement, I guess, after beating story mode on normal, hard, and or ultra spicy mode.
What?
Oh.
Okay. Damn, I
Yeah,
want to check
ultra
that out.
spicy difficulty.
I
That's what
like
I'm
a
gonna start
spicy.
calling the hardest difficulty for every game.
But is it ultra spicy though?
Are we talking habanero? Are we talking ghost pepper? What are we talking about? Uh,
Carolina Reaper, maybe.
oh my god, that
Oh
sounds
my God.
horrifying. Who would eat something called that? Carolina Reaper?
It's real. It's real.
You ever do the one chip challenge? Not to get
Oh
off
God, no,
topic.
don't
Mm-mm.
do it. Don't ever. You're
What?
too old for that.
What's a one chip?
Oh,
What is that?
It's
oh
a super
man,
spicy chip. They literally sell you
yeah.
a single super spicy chip, and it is just literally called the one chip challenge. You're
It's
supposed to see all if you can eat it, and if you don't die, that's the
it's
challenge.
Okay.
what is it?
It's
Carolina
literally
Reaper
poison yourself.
and
It's
what's the
literally
other? Is
poison.
it scorpion pepper, I think?
What the fuck is scorpion
Probably.
pepper? No. Ugh.
Yeah, we did that at work actually.
Oh,
Oh my God.
you lived to
There
tell the
was
tale.
6 of us. Yeah, there was 6 of us that did it.
They're
We each
purging
had
the
our own.
workspace, I guess.
You need some openings. You got a friend who needs a job.
Yeah.
There's just too
Uh,
many people here. All right, get out the chips, everyone.
a couple of the guys that did it actually quit. So
Oh
Oh
well,
my God, it's a sign. Jesus Christ. They
man.
did that legally.
yeah,
All right. I love America. Someone else wrote Crash Bandicoot 4.
It's about time.
It's about time. I'll tell you something. Fucking Crash Bandicoot are hard fucking games, but for the
They are
wrong
very
fucking
difficult.
reasons. Like
Yeah,
can't see anything. Anyways.
yeah. Lock camera,
Yeah.
platforming,
Someone wrote Halo. Alright.
Halo
that
again.
was
Yeah,
probably me.
Okay. World War Z. We played a little bit of that.
we played a little bit of that. Yeah, harder, difficult. That is a power level type game as
Yeah.
well.
I could
Uh,
see
but
how that
yeah,
can get really engaging if you had that many enemies running at you and they're harder to take down. I can see that.
and also four friends
For friend, yes, of
all
course.
playing together
Need
without the
friends.
bots. The bots are terrible.
And they useless. And then last entry was Armored Core 6.
So
So
someone recently played Armor Core 6 and
yeah,
they enjoyed it on the hardest difficulty. Nice.
I've never played one, so they look cool though.
Yeah, they're very fast paced. They're, it's a it's a funny thing because I think it is a part of the Armored Core identity is that these it is a giant mecha type game, but the mechs are moving so fast that they're literally breaking the laws of physics. So so it's like Dragon Ball meets mecha, I guess. I don't know. It's insane with like Ikaruga levels and yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot, but it's very cool series.
Next question. Is there any game you won't play due to its difficulty? So either it's like too easy or too hard. First response, someone said mythic rating in MMORPGs. Yeah,
Okay,
I
so I
could
can explain this a little bit.
do it.
So I know wrote this in a mythic, like mythic in quote unquote, means just like the challenge mode of a dungeon in an RP in an MMO. So like there's the story mode basically you can play on a dungeon, and then there's usually hard mode. And then there's mythic after that. So like mythic is where you have to uh, plan and organize a static group to challenge that dungeon or that challenge that challenge and overcome it and get rewards for it. And it's usually like you get rewarded for it once a week or once every couple weeks type of thing if it resets.
Mm,
So that's what it means.
okay. Yeah. Kind of Leroy Jenkins. Uh,
That's right.
let's see. Someone else wrote any game. Oh, these are all write-ins, by the way.
Right.
Any game that stops being fun because it's too unforgiving. Fair. Yeah, it's totally fair. Like,
Hmm.
someone wrote Dark Souls. That wasn't me, but somebody else said it.
Somebody I know wrote that too.
Okay. Someone wrote, I'm taking a break from most Mario Kart games due to them being too easy for me at the moment. I
Hmm.
can feel that if you remove the blue shells, and we can. Uh,
Maybe they only play with blue shells and it's still too easy for
oh
them, you know?
man, oh fuck,
Oh yeah.
Giga Chad.
Yeah.
Next one. I've never heard of this. Mulana.
Mojana?
I don't know. I hope I'm not
I haven't heard
saying
of it
something.
either.
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't yeah.
if I offended
I
somebody, I'm
know
sorry.
you offended that writer.
Somebody else wrote latest Pokemon entries that require little to no strategy to complete. Um, I kind of feel the same way about Pokemon. I've kind of just dropped it because it's
Yeah,
just not.
unfortunately.
It's not even that
Yeah.
just not like much of a challenge, but it's just like I feel like I've been playing the same game for 20 years, and
Yeah.
while they make like incremental changes, like they don't really hold over. So I don't feel like I'm getting an improved experience. I'm getting a slightly different Pokemon Red.
Hmm.
Eh.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Yeah, the Arceus game or Arceus,
Uh.
however people want to say it, that one changed it up a good amount.
Yeah.
Like the combat system's different, the Pokedex system's different. Like there, and you just like you have a health bar.
Yeah.
The person,
Yeah.
the trainer itself has a health bar. You're in a unique setting in the
Right.
far past where
I've
things are just getting started.
Yeah, I
And
think
yeah,
that game is probably the most interesting thing, and I haven't played it, but
right.
mostly because I don't know, there's other shit to play. I'm just like,
There's
yeah,
so much.
I'm sure it's good. Like, and I've heard good things about it, but what's it? What are the last ones? Violet and Scarlet.
Scarlet.
Scarlet
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Violet.
I was just like, I'm good. I don't,
Yeah,
whatever. It's cool.
unfortunate.
Um, Two people responded with the word no. So there you go. Thank you.
Two people
Two
said
two
no.
whole people.
There are no games that you
Yeah,
won't play due to easy or hard difficulty.
that's kind of wow, super cool.
Interesting.
Somebody else wrote
That does not affect their opinion.
yeah. Someone else wrote some Dark Souls games. So
Some,
that's technically two for Dark Souls.
some
Uh,
of them, though.
some of them. And then somebody else wrote Souls like some turn-based games. I could
Some
see
turn
some turn-based games being too hard, or you just like
or
ah,
too easy as well. Like
which
sometimes.
one's too easy? Give me one that's too easy.
Uh, there is some of the Ubisoft games come to mind. Some of the Ubisoft tried their indie games. They do like a turn-based side scroller. I
Huh.
can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I remember really being
Assassin's
really drawn.
Creed
Yeah, the turn-based Assassin's Creed game.
for the
Uh,
for the Nokia Engage or whatever the fuck. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to get that Nokia so we can play Kingdom Hearts and that. Uh, so, but yeah, I remember being drawn in by a turn-based game by its visuals, very beautiful art style, but like the gameplay was just not challenging enough. You usually could just stick to one party. You don't have to experiment. You don't have to gear up.
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, you could be talking about difficulty as well.
All right. Next question: which game do you enjoy with a lower difficulty? So specifically, like what games that are easy, that are either easy or you enjoy to play them at an easier difficulty.
Yeah, and I am offended by this first answer.
God,
This is not my write-in. And I know who wrote this.
oh my god.
So,
There's a target on your head there. Um, so the first one, I mean, I'm sorry. The first one's Dragon Age Origins. Uh, Mike has a serious history with this game. He's beat this game probably more than any other game he's ever played.
I I played this game during college and I got a degree in it. So
Yeah, basically. He's played like. Didn't you tell me you played every class like
I
and
played every outcome, every ending, every class, and
wow.
I got every achievement on the Xbox 360.
So he hates the game.
Uh,
Is what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
And
it wasn't good. Wasn't that good, you guys?
uh, yeah.
I did the same for Dragon Age 2.
But
I did the same for Mass Effect 2 and 3.
oh, I think I did the same for Mass Effect 2. I don't think I did it for 3, but
I
um,
didn't do the DLC for 3 because 3 just came out. Like, we're gonna drop this huge bomb of a DLC. It's
yeah,
insanely huge and
then
just like a
15
ton of
bucks.
new achievements. Couldn't do that. Couldn't get all the achievements there, but
I dropped that money so quickly.
it was so good.
Ugh, love that game. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I guess I like it. They enjoy it with a lower difficulty. I mean, do you think it's why does it upset you? Like, talk to me, Mike.
I'm most I'm mostly kidding,
Okay.
but at the same time, like these types of games, this could be related to recent game Baldur's Gate 3, which is Baldur's Gate 2 inspired Dragon Age Origins. So it's such a pleasure to be able to play a new game that is like that again and just be challenged by it. Like there's especially in Baldur's Gate and like those are the types of games where it is like these games are gonna beat you up a bit, but there are ways around it. There are ways to figure it out, and once you figure it out, it is really satisfying to overcome it. And then when you keep figuring it out, the game gets easier for yourself. So then you can just bump the difficulty up, and it helps. It's kind of fun that like BioWare named their difficulty systems universally. Like the hardest difficulty in all their games is like Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like nightmare mode is just like, yeah, I beat this game on nightmare. It's fucking awesome. I got the achievement to prove it, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's just a fun aspect to it. But like it. I think an aspect of it that helps is that there's so many different ways to play this game, like
Mm.
especially in Origins and like Baldur's Gate, where you just pick a completely different race, you have a completely different background, a completely different like class, So like the game is going to be different in a number of ways every time you play it. So playing it again and again, getting better at it, and then increasing that difficulty and still being able to master it. I think that's where it really shines
Mm.
for difficulty in those games.
Cool, cool. Matt, did you play Dragon Age?
I never could really get into them, to be honest. I've tried what is there, three of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dragon Age
Yeah.
Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Inquisition is the third game.
Yeah, I think Inquisition might have been the one I played the most, but I couldn't stick with
Yeah,
them for whatever reason.
it was a bad game. Don't worry about
Damn. And he's the authority,
it. Bad,
clearly. So we got it.
bad game.
Yeah.
All right. Two people said Kirby. Kirby's are
Easy.
they're cute games. They're cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cute. Someone wrote so the question again, which game do you enjoy with a lower difficulty? Someone wrote all games. I'm like, all right,
Yeah, this is the
cool.
buddy of mine who wrote in with journalism mode
Okay,
as their preferred.
Uh,
So
I'm
all
with that.
games.
All games. Someone wrote, and here's an interesting one. Control. It becomes exhausting
Oh,
towards the
right.
end. Its story is more interesting than the weight of its mechanics towards the end. I kind of agree. But
Yeah.
I feel like
Uh,
I agree with the idea that the story kind of outweighed the mechanics once you kind of like unlocked all the guns, right? You get like
Yeah,
4 guns.
there's the gun system in that game. I think couldn't you only equip like 2 or 3
Something like that.
variants,
Yeah.
something like that. But also they had like this a pseudo Diablo loot system of your perks that you can equip.
Yeah.
And that is probably the weakest part of the game as far as mechanics and difficulty go.
Yeah.
And the developers know too, because it was kind of like a last minute thing. They've openly stated that. So
Yeah, the
um,
best part of that game is still the fucking creepy
the
Swedish
atmosphere,
puppet show. The puppet show.
yeah.
Oof.
Oh man, yeah, it's
Oof.
so good. The VHS tape of
Ugh,
that, so
it
good,
was good because it was so bad. I was like,
so
I
creepy.
can't stop watching this, and I'm horrified, but I don't really understand why I'm horrified. And it's just, yeah.
uh,
Somebody else wrote,
awesome. Yeah,
okay, somebody wrote Animal Crossing, so for sure,
yeah. New
definitely enjoy that.
Horizons. Yeah,
I'm gonna save the next one for last because I love this answer. Somebody else wrote Doom Eternal, so I think we got that a little earlier. Spyro, for sure. Collectathons, I think, don't need to be aggressively difficult because it's not really where the value is. I think in those kind of
Mhm.
games.
right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Story-driven games, yeah, sure. Does You
Sure,
don't really need
fair.
challenge their journey because someone knows what the
There
best
is
game
no
of all
difficulty.
time is. So
That's
perfect.
right.
And then the
Yeah.
answer I saved for the end was none. I do not like to coddled. So I'm assuming they wrote they're missing to be
They
coddled.
don't like to be they don't like to be coddled
I get
or too
that,
coddled.
or to coddle. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't like coddling others or being. Anyways,
Maybe they have that condition that Sam Porter Bridges has,
yeah, you don't want to touch people.
phobia or something like that.
Yeah, you just give Kojima a word that has fucking syllables, and
Yeah.
he's gonna jam it
he's
into his
gonna ru-
game.
he's gonna make it all a game all about it.
Fucking Sahelanthropus, all right? It's just fucking a, dude. Who calls a
So
robot that? Um,
good. This guy sure did.
this fucking guy. Um, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't ever feel like I'm being coddled by games. That's a weird like. If I have a choice, then
Handheld, yeah.
I don't know. But okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Giga Chad. All right.
When something like that's said, it feels like this guy is the immediate. And this is not a dig on this person at all. It's if you don't
Uh-oh.
want to like be caught, it's fine. But it kind of sounds like if you have the option to turn off tutorials, you're just gonna turn it off immediately.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
gonna,
I,
you're gonna figure that shit out on your
I don't
own.
need to read this fucking manual. Get that out of my face. I'll build this fucking vacuum. Don't worry about it. IKEA, fuck off.
Idea.
I know how to work an Allen wrench. Shut up. And then you're like, I think didn't put enough holes in this. I don't think. That's a half an hour later. You're like, fuck. All right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Because I wrote it. Do you think accessibility hinders competitive games? For example, auto combos in fighting games or aim assist in shooters? Before we get to the crowd, let's go around the table and the TV. Matt, what do you think? Do you think? I think
I
your answer's
don't
here,
remember
but
what I wrote,
well, just
but
talk from the heart.
yes, to a degree,
Okay.
because when it comes to competitive games, having any kind of I don't even know if I would call them accessibility at that point, just like assists takes away from the experience. It's one thing if you're playing it in a less than competitive environment, but if you're playing it in a competitive environment, like it's more of a crutch or a cheat than anything.
Okay. Um, I kind of agree. I think it like depends on again like the environment. So if you're at Evo and there are like no auto combos, okay,
Right.
I kind of see that. But like I think there's also like the thing about like especially in like fighting games, like controllers. What controllers are you using? Can you use your own controller, like your own like built custom built controller and stuff? Um, I don't know how fucking like I like fighting games, like not a lot, but I like them. But you're never gonna see me with an arcade stick on my lap. Like it's just not gonna. Like, I can't do it.
Right.
I need a D-pad, homie. Like I need that D-pad. And if I was in a situation where like, oh, you can play this, but you have to use an arcade stick, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do it because I ain't got that. I don't understand the wrist thing.
Mm.
I need my thumbs.
Yeah,
Um,
when it comes to something like that, like accessibility for sure makes sense. But if
yeah.
it's something like auto combos or, you hold a button to input a command, whatever. Like that's where I think it's too much. Like it hinders it.
Hmm. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I don't have too much experience with fighting games, but for like shooters, aim assist, uh, it's a mixed bag. Like I understand, like play people playing on controller, aim assist is very nice. Like it's especially if you can compare keyboard mouse combo to controllers. Like controllers are at a disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, the disadvantage comes from like you're one with the controller. You're controlling the camera. You're controlling that crosshair in the center of the screen with your thumb, opposed to you're using your whole arm to control that.
whoa.
So you have a lot more control, a lot more
How
precision.
big is your desk,
Um,
dude? Damn. You putting your shoulder into your mouse moves, man? Holy shit.
I'm just
Yeah, it's that professional FPS setup.
He is
yeah.
swiping across, just
Ri-
fucking.
Hey, it's it's like an art class.
Yeah, you gotta.
You don't use your
Yes.
wrist. You
Don't
gotta
use
use
your
your
wrist.
whole arm.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Are you standing up when
So
you're playing too? You got your.
hey, man, standing desks. um,
What?
but yeah. So aim assist, because like a lot of games now, like they're merging both both worlds together. Like for example, Battlefield, you'll have people, they have crossplay enabled, so like PC players can play with console players, and well, there's a bit of a mismatch in that in that competitive scene because well, one side just has a better advantage than the console. The console's gonna usually always be at a disadvantage, so they kind of need aim assist to make it a little bit more even. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you still get like competitions that are for money. Like people compete, and you'll usually see a lot of them compete with controller because of how powerful the aim assist is.
Oh,
And
really?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, so
Well, I wanted to add with like Call of Duty, the latest one, they have a I forget how it works specifically, but it's got like a double aim assist where when you move with the left joystick, there's some kind of a assist where it like kind of locks the crosshair onto the player, or it slows it down, or I forget what it was exactly, but also aiming with the right joystick, uh it enables another aim assist. So by using both joysticks, you're giving yourself like a double aim assist, and basically like your crosshair sticks to the player.
it's like an aimbot at that point. And
Almost. Like I've
yeah,
seen clips of it where it looks almost like they're aimbotting, and I
yeah,
guess a lot of PC players were using a controller
right,
specifically to get that double aim assist.
Yo, I'm
right.
in. Let me get
That's
some
the
kills,
advantage.
dude. I want to call that UAV. I never get to
I mean,
call it.
hey, that's a part of accessibility, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, fair.
but
All right.
those systems can still be exploited.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go over the answers. The question again, do you think accessibility hinders competitive games? I didn't put a question mark on that. Nobody called me out on that. It's fucked up. For example, auto combos in fighting games or aim assists. One person said no. One person said yes.
Yes.
The next person wrote a little bit. Accessibility can hinder competitive gaming depending on both its use and, ironically, its accessibility. Street Fighter 6 at this year's Evo, for example, had many in the simpler move path playstyles reach surprisingly high in the tournament ladders. So long as the environment for the game can make it open and free of judgment, as Street Fighter 6 does, or makes it an optional situational thing that might not be available in the highest levels of competitive play. Uh, League of Legends League of Legends bans particular skins for characters that might give even the slightest edge on just a visual level. I don't know anything about
Yeah,
that.
I've seen that before. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Uh,
Cosmetics. I
then
think
it
Call of Duty does that too, where they'll just have like, a pay to win skin as
ah
players call them. Like, this is a skin where it just makes you completely dark. Like it's just like from head
oh
to
okay,
toe, you're just in black camo. So if you sit in a dark
Uh,
corner, you cannot be seen.
jeez,
So
okay, that
so
makes sense. Then it says, then it comes to the game itself to balance on how those accessibility features are utilized. I agree. I think it's if you're gonna uh, if you give a little to one side, you got to make sure it balances on the other side. Giving more options to players, I think, is always better, um,
Hmm.
for the most part. Someone else wrote, no, there's still some strategy involved in playing those games. Just because you can do a twitch precise movement on the joystick doesn't mean you know how to use it. Yeah, man, it's not decisive. Anyways,
Do it. Just
uh,
do it.
the next person wrote, skill issue. I don't, what the fuck? Thanks for participating in the survey, but what am I supposed to say to that? Great, appreciate it. Real discourse. Anyways,
Valued opinion.
yeah. Good lord. Somebody else wrote, in some situations it can, but I feel like it's necessary in others. For example, shooting games on consoles. Yeah, we talked about that, and I kind of agree. Um, Somebody else wrote, honestly, uh, in an honest fashion, I'm not informed enough to answer, but I appreciate their inclusions personally. I think that's cool. Better than fucking skill issue. The people, the people. Somebody else wrote, the people most angry with it have little respect for a franchise's casual audience and seldom propose solutions to this issue. And I think that's actually on point right there.
Yeah.
What is the solution? Is it just fuck you? Like you just can't play it? Like that doesn't seem
Mhm.
very inclusive, fair, or good for the industry, art form, and blah blah blah. So,
Right.
yeah, if you games aren't just for you. Whoa, I dropped some. Games aren't just for you; they're for for everybody, or they can
Right.
be, or they should be,
They can't be. They should
or
be. Yeah.
yeah, why not?
Can't
Um,
please everybody, but
yeah, but but yeah, making things, I don't know. I anyways,
depends on the mentality. Some games are crafted for an experience, whereas others are
right.
more open to multiple types of experiences.
Is it
So
fucking Wolfenstein that has that stupid like character look dressed like a baby when it's like on easy mode or something,
Oh
just
yeah.
to like taunt
yeah.
you, and it's just like what the like,
And
oh,
isn't
Metal
the
Gear 5 did
difficulty
that
called
too.
baby or something?
I don't, it's something like that.
Probably, yeah. It puts a
It's
pacifier in your mouth.
yeah, and dude's wearing a bonnet. It's just like
Yeah,
okay, like what?
yeah. Very
All
I
right.
think
not
it's
not
called
helpful.
Can I Play Daddy?
Oh
Oh my
my god,
god, it's
Jesus
even
Christ.
worse.
All right.
So
The next
edgy.
one is
The
just
edgy
Don't
hat.
Hurt Me.
Uh, like what?
Like,
Yeah. Cool, bro.
man.
Uh, yeah. All right. Enjoy
Metal
your.
Gear 5 kind of did that too. If you died a lot in 5,
Oh,
you'd
you get the
get the
chicken
chicken
mode.
hat.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
that felt more comedic than like
yeah,
"fuck you, you
Yeah.
suck,"
right,
and it actually it only worked I think once, right? Like you can be seen
mhm,
once and then it disappears.
right. I
Um.
think.
Anyways, the people most angry. Oh, we were that's right. I did the podcast thing. Yay, we did it. We're a real podcast. I read the same answer twice. Um, so somebody wrote, no, mastery reigns over small advantages, and I think that's also true too, right? Like if you're really good at something, it's not because you have a skill, it's because the skill is adaptation, right? So someone if same with like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like the first act of that game, you're fighting just Mongols, and they have a certain fighting style. And then second act, you're also fighting like Japanese swordsmen, and their fighting style is completely different. But you don't have any different tools, so you have to adapt like the play style. Like they'll do a lot of feints and stuff, and they'll crowd around you differently in different formations.
Mhm,
You gotta learn to use your environment differently and stuff.
right, right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this. And then last answer to the question: do you think accessibility hinders competitive games? Someone wrote, no. True accessibility only helps more people to be able to play games, no matter their handicap or age. Thanks for adding an age. I appreciate it.
At least somebody's thinking about us.
Thanks, man. All right, and then the final question, which is basically any comments or thoughts. So just free reign for people to speak their mind. Um, First one is a question for us actually, so
All
appreciate
right,
that.
okay.
What are your
Yeah.
opinions on feast or famine levels of difficulties, usually found in the higher reaches of New Game Plus, where a single failed action can result in a one-shot death or similar fail state? ultimately turning many of those games from their base genre into more of a puzzle-based solution depending on the game. An example would be highest Iron Man difficulties for Fire Emblem, XCOM, or FromSoft's usual new game plus plus plus
Plus,
plus
plus,
plus plus playthroughs. I think I counted
yeah,
those right.
that's a thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
um. So Mike,
Yeah, I think we kind of commented on it a little bit. Like I was talking about something along these lines for like Death Stranding,
yeah,
where it's like this is my second playthrough of this game, and I'm playing on very hard, and I'm figuring things out. It feels like a puzzle. I'm working it through, and I'm succeeding at it. It feels good.
right.
Uh, Whereas other times, like if we are talking about like XCOM, Iron Man's not for me.
Mm,
Like like the game's already difficult as it is. You're already up against just a wall of RNG. Uh,
mm,
and just playing on Iron Man mode is like if your squad is dead, you're done. The game's done. It's it. You got to
yeah,
restart from the beginning. So,
permadeath. What do you
yeah,
think, Matt?
permadeath.
So I actually had a little bit of experience, not with like the hardest difficulty, but in Fire Emblem Engage, I had been playing the game on I guess it would just be hard. And I got to a point where it just wasn't fun. So I had to
Yeah,
lower it. So
yeah,
like having like an Iron Man type difficulty I think is fine, but I
not
don't
for
know if
you.
it makes a game yeah, yeah. Like if it makes a game not enjoyable, I don't see a reason to even try it.
Yeah. Um, my
Best
only
example probably is Zomboid.
Yeah.
fuck yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I've turned that game off more than once, going like, "Yo, fuck this. How the fuck did I get bit? That was some bullshit." Fuck.
Yeah,
And then I'll be back in a week. I'll be like, "I love this fucking game. It's the best."
yeah.
um,
Technical involved.
I think you alluded to the example earlier, Mike, but yeah, I've I've basically I'll beat my chest here a little bit. I've fucking mastered Metal Gear Solid 3, right? I
Yeah.
know that game better than any other game. Um, and I've beat it multiple times on European Extreme, which is I don't know why it's European, but basically you can't be seen. Like if you're seen, it's game over. It's not if you're caught, if you're shot dead, if what it's if they see you, it's done. Mission's up,
Mhm.
you gotta go. Um, and I did that back then because I was poor and I only had a few games. So I was like, I'm gonna get the squeeze all the juice out of this thing. And I really like the game too. But
Yeah.
I think their point is kind of true that it changes the game into like a very you're solving a puzzle rather than going through like the game itself becomes the puzzle and you start to kind of see, how you can um it depends on the
Yeah.
game, but it can be really fun to like kind of like debug some of it, right?
Mhm.
And then and depending on the game, it can force you to do things that you wouldn't normally have done.
Right.
And scarcity can kind of give you that kind of ingenuity. Um, and so for example, for Metal Gear 3, a lot of times I would I would just like I'd go out of my way to collect, poisonous animals and then make sure I would destroy their food source so that they'd be hungry and I just throw poisonous animals out and they'd eat them. The guards would eat them and poison themselves and die. And I was like, "Whew, safe." Didn't have to fire a
Yeah.
shot. Nobody had to see me. They just, whatever. And then, of course, be sure to shoot out their radio so nobody can call for help. And then, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And so there's like steps I could take to never be seen, um, but it was like a grueling process, and
Mhm.
but it unlocked certain parts of the game and mechanics that I just I would have never used otherwise.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so
Kojima does that pretty well with his games
yeah,
overall, where they just the difficulties allow you to, or where it forces you to play in certain ways, and usually those certain ways are still satisfying,
yeah, um,
unlike Gears of War.
correct. All right, so somebody wrote a small essay, so
Yes.
I'm gonna try to get through this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
by the way. We
seriously, thanks
appreciate it.
for this uh, this level of engagement. But
Yeah.
forgive me if my reading isn't great. English is my second language.
That's true.
I'm here for a fun experience, not a challenging one. I don't have a sense of pride beating something that took me 5 hours of repetition to complete. To me, that's like watching paint dry. A lot of times, hard difficulties are just more enemies, bigger life bars, smaller reaction times. It feels cheap, like a jump scare in a horror movie, rather than putting in the effort of getting the atmosphere right. There are very few games I replay. I'd rather move on to a new experience, which is why I just jump ship if I get stuck or lose progress. That's something I need to learn how to do. Uh, Elden Ring is a game I played with, which is technically hard, but I got sucked in due to the world building and mystery. The ability to leave and do something else and come back overpowered balanced the
Hmm.
game for me. That's yeah, we talked about that. I didn't like Bloodborne or Sekiro, where you needed to grind to get back what you lost when losing to a boss. The extra grind ruined those games for me. The Arkham Spider-Man series games do add more health to villains, but they're still one-hit KOs when using stealth, fighting takedowns. I might. Well, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Hmm.
Sorry. I might play those games on an easier difficulty if I could remove the spider sense from both games in either difficulties to know when to counter. Hey, bro, but you gotta. Spider-Man needs a spider sense. Like, what?
Oh, yeah, it's
Wait, wait.
part of his identity.
Yeah, I mean, Batman doesn't. I'm down with that. Guy could fucking do everything.
Hey, hey, Bat's got sonar, right?
That's not how sonar works. You'd have to
Mic
be
mic drop.
screaming all the
Mic
time. Like,
drop. I'm gone.
the
I'm sorry, man. It's
fuck?
over. I won.
Okay. He continues. I appreciate games that are hard and for a certain audience. However, gamers, mm, whichever gamers, I'm not sure. I watch videos of people beating games on their hardest difficulty. However, devs and gamers need to realize that it completely limits game reach. Having the option for disabled new players to enjoy the game helps the games reach new audiences. I've seen a lot of people start a game on easy and then 10 years down the line, they're still playing the game but now on the hardest difficulty. Mass Effect, Hades, Phasmophobia. Don't know that one.
Phasmophobia.
Okay.
That's it. It's a ghost
Metal
game.
Got it.
Spooky.
Got that. Metal Gear, Pokemon, Pokemon with Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke.
Don't
Yeah,
know
the
what that is.
Nuzlocke challenge. You don't know what that is, really?
No.
Hmm.
So Nuzlocke challenge is like how fans of the series actually make the game more challenging. It is a self-imposed difficulty. So I
Okay.
think I don't know all the rules, but like so you pick a starter and then if any of your Pokemon die in battle, you have to release that Pokemon. You never get that Pokemon again.
Oh my god.
Every time you enter a new area, the first Pokemon you encounter, you have to capture that Pokemon, and that Pokemon is now on your team.
That's the
Okay?
only one you can capture from that area as well.
That's right. So you have it's
What?
complete RNG of what your team's gonna be, and you
Yep.
cannot capture and use another Pokemon from that area.
You also have to nickname every Pokemon so that way you build an
That's true.
emotional bond with them. So when you have to release them, it hurts that much more.
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
items can only be used outside of battle, not inside.
Wait a minute. Hold on. We can't just skip over this like PTSD inducing fucking limitation we're asking for here. Go on. Sorry.
What else? There's another rule you can do if you're playing with somebody. I think it's after every gym battle or after like you get a badge,
You have to sacrifice your
you
firstborn.
I th- I
Yeah, it
think
sounds about right.
I think it's you have to trade a Pokemon from your team with them.
Oh my god.
I've also seen YouTubers do I think they call it like a soul Nuzlocke or something like that, where where so like both of them pick a starter, right?
Mhm.
So if one of their starters dies, the other person also dies. Like whatever Pokemon they get from a route, if that one dies, they have to release the same one that they got from that route. So it's basically like they're like soul bound, like they're linked or whatever.
Oh
Insane. I
my
haven't
god.
even
Okay,
heard of
this is
that.
this is like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
next
but
level.
yeah, it's like if you black out, that's it. It's the game over.
Yeah,
You got to start again.
can you
So
I think you guys want to play a different game. Like holy
yeah, pretty much.
shit, dude.
It's an old series, man. People have
Yeah.
been with it for a long time.
All right.
And it's
Some
as we've
people,
talked about, the game hasn't changed that much, so
Yeah.
Nuzlocke is
right?
applicable to anyone who wants a little bit more. Well, maybe
S-
not just a little bit more, a lot more out of
some
their game.
people even go further with it, where they do a randomizer as well.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
randomizers
people
are
have a
cool.
modded ROM of the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. So that way, every Pokemon they find is random, makes it even harder.
All
you're
right.
really cool. Really cool.
They wrap up by saying, personally, I wish the industry would move from difficulty settings to accessibility dials, allow the player to individually move up or down the parts of the game they wish, i.e., Darkest
Oh,
Dungeon, Celeste, or Hades. More
Crosscode has that too.
There you go. More options just benefit everybody. Well, that's cool. I agree. I think
Yeah, that's
more
true.
options is better.
Depends
Um,
on the game. I would say that much. Depends on the game because I I still appreciate when a game dev creates an experience
yeah,
and they
agreed.
have the experience fully planned out and that's it. You play it and that's it. Like that's it. Like Journey, right? If
Yeah,
that game doesn't have any difficulty or optional different ways, you can just play it again and again. And sometimes you can get a co-op buddy, and that changes the game in itself. So the
yeah.
way the co-op is set up in that game, it's completely random. It's not static. Like there's no
You don't even
lobbies.
know who it
It's a
is.
surprise. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
It's just somebody else.
yeah. The first time that happened to me, that was it changed the experience completely because I was just doing my thing, and I'm like, is that another person? They were far away, and I
Yeah.
walked up to them, and they just like looked at me, and I just looked at them, and I was like,
Then you start singing at each
yeah,
other.
we just started doing the sing thing, and they're like, okay, and I'm like, we're communicating in a way. I'm like, all right, let's
So cool.
go, and it was
Such a
fucking amazing.
incredible game.
All right, I'm gonna save the two best answers for last. So I'm gonna skip this next one. Um,
Okay.
someone wrote, I prefer more casual difficulty on games with lengthy campaigns. Otherwise, I enjoy the challenge. I think that's fair because there's also like grandpa over here, but I ain't got a lot of fucking time, so I don't
Right.
like feeling like I'm wasting time. And if difficulty is part
Yeah.
of that, then just get that shit out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck that.
Game wasting my time.
Yeah. Someone said
Sucks.
maybe talk Armored Core 6. I think we talked a little bit
Uh,
about it, but
we did a little bit, yeah.
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 But if you want to hear more about
Good
that,
game.
leave a comment.
Yeah.
Next, I'm not a fan of traditional difficulty options. There are some games that use clever methods to adjust difficulty that I prefer. So, agreed. And then for the last two great comments, we said, any other comments or thoughts? Someone wrote no.
No.
That, my friend, was a comment. And somebody else wrote, pay me, in which I will quote the last comment. No. Thanks for doing the
Well, I
survey,
mean,
though.
we're working out bit percentages, so
Yeah,
maybe we can work in a 2%,
we gotta
maybe like a 2% for this
fucking.
person.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's reliable content, right?
Fair
If you get a
enough.
certain, anyways,
Anyways, so last but not least, you said if you want to shout out, this is your chance. So shout outs to egg.mp4, old
thank you,
friend
Egg.
of the
Appreciate it.
server. RickE, also friend of a lot of these are server people, community members. Alec,
Mhm. Appreciate you.
always appreciate Alec and his pangolin. Some fucking weird dude called Single T. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Oh yeah, what a weirdo,
What a
man.
fucking
Can't
creep.
believe.
What does that
Yeah.
even
Right,
mean?
Matt? Matt?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Matt, how many
Yeah.
T's?
The
And then
one T in Matt.
that's weird. what
Tiamat, the dragon god?
Yeah.
Oh,
oh.
oh,
And the
all
last
right.
one, someone called I'm Batman. That's a really weird name.
Huh.
So thanks for everybody.
Batman wrote in.
Batman
I
wrote in.
mean, hey, if Batman's writing in, if that man finds time to write in, more people can write in. That's what I
That's
say.
true. That's true. And I
That
could,
man somehow found the time to write into our little
boy,
survey about game
boy,
difficulty.
fucking find time for everything. Get
Yeah.
jacked, learn kung fu, fucking be an astronaut. Who knows what he can fucking do?
He's the jack of all trades and the master of all.
It's just that he's immortal or something. Oh no.
Sometimes, depending on which version, yeah.
Um, but yeah, thanks to everybody
It's a clone.
for 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 participating in the survey. I mean,
Yeah,
next time
we
up,
definitely got to do this more.
yeah, I think it helps, especially when these like harder. harder kind of conversations that are
That's right.
just
Very
kind of
broad,
nebulous. Yeah.
polarizing. Yeah.
Yeah. Next podcast, I thought it was gonna be about Sea of Stars, but I guess we're not gonna be ready.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be ready, you
Oh
guys.
man.
Yeah, I might
Sorry.
be able to beat it, but
I mean,
it's a
do we
big
have to
might.
beat it to talk about it?
I would like to have a
Yeah.
full discussion
Yeah,
about it.
Could
It
I?
feels
yeah.
good.
What if
I
I'm not liking it that much and I don't want to beat it? I'm just.
oh come on,
Ugh.
you gotta finish
Thanks for the pressure, Mike.
it.
Um,
Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
um,
I haven't even started yet, so we'll see how
okay.
it goes.
All right. All right. But yeah, Matt, thanks for coming by. You know,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
we love
Yeah,
having
appreciate it, man.
community members be in our stuff.
And
Like,
be available at
yeah,
very strange
very
times.
strange times. Yeah. So
It's currently almost 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast.
yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. It's like 3 p.m. here. We out here chilling.
It's pretty normal, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying a lot. I don't know. It's good talk. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
a very fun topic to talk about. We could probably talk about it even more, but
Yeah, I mean, we
I think
solved
we're
it.
at a good.
Honestly, I think it's difficulties complete. We got it. I think we're done.
We did it.
I think we
Nailed
did
it.
it.
First try.
Yeah. Fucking get good, bro. Fucking come on.
That was too easy,
Do
honestly.
you even
Too easy. It
fucking
should have been more difficult.
yeah?
Oh
Maybe we should
yeah.
put some modifiers on it.
Fucking maybe
Maybe we can only speak in syllables.
yeah. We could only respond in haikus, and
Yeah.
and
And if you say one time, you're out.
right, and you have to kill your first Pokemon.
Yeah. It's a necessary thing, and we have to all be playing different games at the same
At the
time.
same time, right? All
We're
we're
all
all
having a conversation.
we're all playing different Souls games at the same time. Fucking a.
Yeah,
Uh,
perfect.
if you die in a
All
Souls
right.
game, everybody dies in a Souls game.
Health bars are linked.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm getting everybody murdered. Sorry, I don't know how to roll.
It's just playing in an MMO. MMO on raid night.
Yep.
One person fucks up, everybody's dead.
Yeah. I'll get that Ace Combat stuff up soon. I keep
Oh yeah, we're gonna
forgetting.
be playing that some more.
Yeah. We got some Ace Combat. That game is fucking ridiculous.
Oh
Fuck.
god,
Game is
in the
ridiculous.
best way.
Yeah.
It's the only way to keep playing, just to see how can they top themselves.
And you're
How can
promising
they
that they
top the
do.
JPEG dog?
JPEG Dog was insane. I cannot believe that was in a fucking game.
We're
Holy
gonna look
shit.
at these awkward. Okay, this is a princess and her friends, and then we hear a dog bark, and then cut to JPEG dog.
Just a fucking cardboard cutout just standing next to this anime lady who's
uh,
pretending to talk. Just like, while
yeah,
a- while a
Simlish.
while a
She's speaking
ran
Simlish, probably.
some fucking random convict is telling me about how she had a bad relationship with her mom and her grandpa. There's nothing to do with the story. It's just
Has nothing to do with your character.
ugh,
Nothing at all.
it's
There's a
incredible.
space elevator for some reason.
Nobody uses. Anyways, more Ace Combat coming up. More podcasts. This is about things.
Yep.
We'll figure
We
it
can
out.
talk about we can talk about some of our retro classic favorite
Bro,
games.
fuck you, man. These games are alive and well. How dare you?
Tune in for our Red Alert 2 podcast.
Oh, we have to at some point. Yeah.
We can talk. Oh, probably a good amount. A podcast worth the amount
Fuck yeah,
for
we can.
two.
All right, we
Yeah,
should cut
that'll
this
be
off.
fun.
Um,
Yep.
how do we end things? Do we do a bit?
Tune into our bit. Next
Oh yeah,
bit.
the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to do the.
Not a Bitcoin though.
Oof.
Do not
No,
mistake
that was the
man.
other thing.
that's a
Jeez.
lawsuit if you
Yeah.
mistake that.
And
We
don't think
can't
about
that we
paying
can't
us.
afford that.
Yeah, don't pay us in
Yeah,
Bitcoin. I'm not. I need real shit. Right?
yeah. We don't even know how that shit works.
I don't
It's
understand it.
money. It's money, but it's not real.
Mm-mm.
But it is.
But nobody wants it. But everybody wants
It's like
it. Doesn't fucking make sense. I don't fucking get it.
Schrodinger's money.
Money. Yeah. I'm rich. Kinda.
In quotations.
I'm rich, but I can't pay anybody for anything. Okay.
All right.
All
Sounds like a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
Thank you
Anyways,
for joining us.
yeah, this is going long. All right. Say bye.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye bye. Okay, it's over.